Watched it coming up Winslow down South Park Boulevard. Yeah, it was looking good from tail to hood. Great big fins and painted steel. Man, it looked just like the Batmobile, with my old man behind the wheel. Well, you could hardly even see him in all of that chrome. The man with the plan and the pocket comb. But every night it carried him home, and I could hear him saying, don't you give me no Buick. Son, you must take my word. If there's a God in heaven, he's got a silver Thunderbird. You can keep your Eldorados and the foreign cars absurd. Me, I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird. Got up every morning while I was still asleep. I remember the sound of him shuffling around right before the crack of dawn. It's when I heard him turn the motor on. But when I got up, they were gone. Down the road in the rain and snow, the man and his machine would go. Oh, the secrets that old car would know. Sometimes I hear him saying, don't you give me no Buick. Son, you must take my word. If there's a God in heaven, he's got a silver Thunderbird. You can keep your Eldorados and the foreign cars absurd. Me, I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird. Down the road in the rain and snow, the man and his machine would go. All the secrets that old car would know. I still hear him saying, don't you give me no Buick. Son, you must take my word. If there's a God up in heaven, he's got a silver Thunderbird. You can keep your Eldorado and the foreign cars absurd. Me, I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird. Me, I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird.
I got a little bit of time before the show proper, and I don't think it can be overstressed that China is growing flowers on the moon, my friends. Flowers on the moon. Oh, yeah.
Last night a little dancer came dancing to my door. Last night a little angel came pumping on my floor. She said, come on baby, got a license for love. And if it expires, pray help from above. Because in the midnight hour, she cried more, more, more. With a rebel yell, she cried more, more, more. Wow, in the midnight hour, babe, more, more, more. With a rebel yell, more, 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 more. She don't like slavery, she won't sit and beg. But when the child of lonely sees me to bed, what set you free and brought you to me, babe? What set you free? I leave you here by me. Because in the midnight hour, she cried more, more, more. With a rebel yell, she cried more, more, more. Wow, in the midnight hour, babe, more, more, more. With a rebel yell, more, more, more. He lives in his own heaven. Lexington go from the 7-Eleven. Well, it's out all night to a late game. Just a long, don't miss up his head. I walk the walk for you, baby. 1,000 miles for you. I dried your tears up a million times to you. I'd sell my soul for money to burn to you. I'll give you all and have nothing. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. How do you hear about me? Because in the midnight hour, keep my more. With a rebel yell, keep my more. In the midnight hour, baby, more. With a rebel yell, keep my more. Oh yeah, little baby, you want more? Oh yeah, little angel, you want more?
That's almost worth a screen share right there. Pretty sure I'm back to my microphone. Well, you know, it's like, boom, Hangouts are going to end. What am I broadcasting? That song, this song? Man, I was jamming there for a while. They're really hardcore. I thought for a minute that I was receiving these, random warnings because I was playing snippets of video. I've never been messed with on this platform for playing music. I mean, look at here, folks. Tell me, I want to talk to you all about a few concepts today, but not the least of which is success. Tell me I'm not successful. As my folks that I know start to come in, tell me that I'm not successful. I've maintained a small but loyal group of folks that always show up. Not one of you here is a bootlicker. I'm not Rush Limbaugh saying that, or Tucker Carlson saying that, or God and heaven forbid Tonka Saw saying that. I'm Ogre saying that, and every one of y'all know that you do not. If I was to try to tell you how to think and argue with you about what you think and tell and try to create some kind of strange cult like I'm witnessing with Owen Benjamin, like I witnessed with Tonka Saw. Hey man, look, right now one of the same morons in the beginning of this thing that I started it. I did. Well, I and MCJK, Cabbage Patch Bastard, Huckleberry, Buckshot Santos, the greatest group of trolls that ever were assembled in one place at one time. I'm going to admit that. I was a small part of it. And Batman, and who else was there? Batman got us the back door. I freely say that now. I'm not trying to narc. And let me know on the microphone. I've heard some clicks and pops, and I like to get up close and personal as some bitch when I can and when I remember. But yeah, I know what I did wrong. I did a couple things wrong here, folks. I did. I made some mistakes. Is it okay that I've made some mistakes? Is it all right that I've made some mistakes? I've made some mistakes. I'm going to talk today about some mistakes that have been made by someone else. It's going to be fun for me. It really is. Because look, when there's some red flags that went up for me instantly the first time I ever met our protagonist today, Tonka Saw. There was a lot. There was a few. For one, he was telling me that he had no problem paying for me, and no money was even specified. As far as he knew, I'd want 10 grand to show up. He don't really know me, know nothing about me now. By the way, there's some things are gonna come up in here, but I want to keep them sequential. So this is what happened. the people that I just mentioned. Let me give me 1 second. I'm going to play another song. I'm going to see if it strikes me down because I really wasn't ready right now. It just started flashing me the old fuck you symbol up there. And I wasn't quite ready, and I want to do this proper. Good. I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to put it up on Ogre Shoots. This is a thing that I'm going to do now. I do Ogre rides. You know, I have a philosophy and the fun stuff while I'm riding back from cutting wood. And I'm going to do Ogre Shoots, and that's of course where I know people now. I've been around long enough to say I know people. All right, I do, and it's not like people can't shoot on me. They do it all the time and have done. This is one of the people that did before he knew who I am. Mr. Medicare, I am humbled. I put my jacket on today. It's hot in here because Mrs. Ogre is coming back. I'm going to talk to y'all about some things when I come back from playing this tune. So thank you for being here. Don't go nowhere. You know, I'm going to be right back. MCJK, I held off as long as I could. I had this plan since this morning at 6 o'clock. It was great to hear your live stream today. And I think everyone knows that's the number one thing that I would promote, if you want to call it that. I call it synergy. That's the number one thing I offer my synergy to, is that wonderful live stream that does come from MCJK. I learned a lot there. Usually I learn there because he's so blatantly incorrect in his assumptions and his assertions and uses so many phallical logic. Never mind. I was going to try to be a jackass, but I stumbled on my words right off the bat. So I better just go to this song, get prepared. Like I said, I was going to, and I'll be back. Thank you one and all for being here. This small thing that I have is important to me. My goals have been my goals, and maybe I'll get to those in my final word. But my goals have been my goals, and they remain where they are. The only time this channel has ever made money, it was to help others. I think everyone here knows who some of the people were that it helped. We remain friends to this day. It's nice that I have had a chance to meet some wonderful people. But I've also had a chance to work on, we'll call it the serpent sniffer. And I've learned to smell out snakes a lot quicker than I did at one time on this platform. So here's one of my favorites as I go take a little break. I got to get some tissue too, man. It is -3 degrees outside right now, Fahrenheit. I can't even tell you what that is Celsius, but it's bloody cold. Enjoy.
Looking better than a
touch you, but I don't know how to love you. It ain't no use, we're headed for disaster. I might say no, but our hearts are talking faster.
Ha! I thank you so much for sharing this with your friends, your family, your loved ones, those that you care about, those that you hate, those that you dislike, those that you would love to see die a slow and painful death of pancreatic cancer in a part of the world where they have not yet discovered opiates. Thank you, son of a bitchin' Oh, I was just blatantly just cussing continually without cease. Was I cussing? I know at this point that it is simply a money grab on the part of Voice Meter, the quote unquote free program man. And my sincere apologies for being the Jew that I am. I'm very chintzy, some bitch. Even memes called me out the other day in his way. Whatever, you know what? Up your nose with a rubber hose, memes. I don't appreciate the way that you were, pointing out that I probably would never hook up my soundboard, but I was thinking about it today. And I tell you what, it would have been a great way to waste the 6 hours I had between starting, the notice for this stream and to put it up into now, because I did it at like 6 a.m. So let me know if you can hear me at all. If my voice sounds halfway decent and not scratchy, just let me know. Just press. I don't even care what the fuck you press. You know what? Push your pudenda or pull your pud. It is completely up to you. Here's something I want to talk about. I'm going to talk to you today about cowardice, honesty, manhood, and toxic masculinity. Cowardice, honesty, manhood, toxic masculinity. Somebody wrote this down. I forget them. Honesty. I'm going to listen. It was 1982. I was 8 years old, lived on Nelson Court in Burton, Michigan. Been in a couple scraps with the boy up the street named Chucky Lozano, little Chuck Lozano. He whooped my ass, man. He had his Mexican tricks. He was he was fast. He was fucking lightning fast. And I wasn't a bully, but I was tough. And we all scrapped for our positions, you know? And I was usually on top, but I just did it with sheer, and he didn't even. Man, I couldn't get a hold of him, and he beat me up a couple times. One time he gave me a black eye, and I completely lied. The only person that I think knew that was an adult for sure was my dad. He knew it was punches. It was I got hit in the eye. Give me a black eye. Yeah, because I was young. Anyway, so it was time. We actually had a scheduled fight where Nelson Court meet. So listen, we were down in the neighborhood. Let me make a long story short and not give you complete every direction to exactly where it happened. And we met down here, man, right in front of Raymond Brower's house. We called it French Fry. And there he was, man. And I had a game plan. I mean, me and my older brother, George, he was like, we drilled it. And he was like, no, you got to go. And it was a guillotine. I used that move for a long time. Headlock, a headlock. It was a guillotine, the way that I put it on, the way that, I don't know, man, it was no Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It was my brother Dillard, and my brother Dillard was an excellent wrestler. Dill, we call him Pickle. And my brother George was just a crafty, evil fucker that never been in a fight. He wasn't in a fight then. He was just like coaching me. And so look, here's the long story short. Come time, and I'm going down. I come off Nelson Court, and man, it's right. It's like, this is the main road to us, and we meet right there. Boom. It's on like neck bone. I was terrified, folks. And yeah, I'm not talking a lot about the first two fights that I already alluded to because I lost them. I got my ass kicked, but this was my redemption story and a story about cowardice. Look, a coward believes he's going to lose, doesn't know he's going to win, isn't sure of the outcome, has no idea. He doesn't care. He doesn't even formulate an opinion about how it's going to go. He skips out. He skips out. He leaves. He doesn't even remain an interlocutor. And excuse me if I use some big words. That's my jabs nowadays, man. When I think of somebody like sudden failure, like the lard-ass Cuban Missile Crisis, sudden failure to launch. And look, I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into it. And I don't care. I'm going to bitch today. I'm going to bitch, and I'm going to tell you all it's some inside shit. This is inside shit. Huckleberry and MCJK and Cabbage Patch Bastard and myself and some others, we get a back door from Batman. We go up in and we absolutely destroy a live stream with this money-grabbing, lying, manipulating asshole that threw Sevy Rose out last I knew. And I've helped Sevy Rose in ways. And I don't want to get too far off in the weeds. I just want to let y'all know I know these people. Contact Sevy Rose. She'll tell you, oh, yeah, I know Ogre. He's helped me when I needed it really bad. And sometimes he's helped me when the really bad help I needed was he knew I wanted some cigarettes and wanted my life to be a little bit easier than it was right at that moment. Sorry, I know that mic was far away, right? Man, I'm getting fucking pissed about this because I'm going to tell y'all some shit. So this night we got a back door and boom, we hit him hard. Boom, boom. We hit him fucking hard. And I'm left holding the bag by some people. I'm not going to call them out today. It's not about that. They know who they are. It doesn't really matter that much anyway, because so what? I got left holding the bag. In all honesty, among that group, I'm honored to be holding the bag on that. And I should hold it because I did hit him harder. I did go in longer. I did go in deeper. I did go in harder. I did stretch them out further. I did blow their minds just a little bit more. There is no way that I'm talking about these people like Lizzie Reptile. That's the stream we blew out. Lizzie Reptile. Oh my goodness. She's a mouth breathing. Look, I want to ad homs are difficult. She strikes me as someone that doesn't think out what she's going to say very carefully. And then if she does, it really shows her absolute ignorance. The only thing I have observed her to be good at is to use emotion to manipulate. So let's fast forward. Boom. So I'm hated because I condescended to do that and I left holding the bag, and cognitive thought was on there. This mouth breathing idiot. So private shit happened with me and some other people I mentioned, but the main ones were myself and a couple girls. Most people know this. You can check the record and you can see for yourself and make your own judgment of who was who, because the people have admitted it. It was like, I said, what do you think I'm going to do since Blair White didn't show up? Because we had been getting some big guests. A lot of them I had lined up. Some of them, one bass mama lined up, and a couple Britisher lined up. Me and Britisher was like in a war, not a war, but we were in a competition, a good old boys competition, kind of who could get the best. And man, I had Blair White, and she just stood me up. In fact, when we did it, and I felt like it was my fault really in the end because I didn't follow up a lot. Once she said yes, and this is why, we'll get to it. Truth, manhood, what it is to be a man. Let's just wrap everything I said before and fuck it. Let's wrap it all up and say this so I don't have to think about points like I'm a preacher again, because I didn't make no fucking bullet points here, folks. This is a conscious stream of thought ramble about this insane shit. I've been asked by so far only two people. I'll name them. Shy Mirror, The Quiet Place, Quiet, and Conscious Caracal. Both of them have come directly to me in DMs and said, what do you think, dude? You started this. You started the Kumite. You're the first one. And look, I got to say this. Worski wraps it up so good. Oh, Worski is talking. Worski is having it out, and he's really on a roll, and he's right there blasting it out. It's on Medicare's video, but I'm not sure where the conversation was taking place. I watched a few things today leading up to this. So which ones? I mean, all you got to do is look at, everybody's probably seen them. And if you haven't, it's easy to find. And there's Worski, like, man, he's going at Tonka Saw. I think it's at least 2 or 3 months old. He's like, look, you don't let anybody talk. All you do is say bitch. You can't. You won't let anybody make an argument. If they say anything about you, I knew right away. Look, this guy, failure to launch. He doesn't want to fight me. With all due, I'm saying this with respect. Failure. You're a pawn, and you're smart. You're the beta that's there waiting to kill the alpha, hoping one day you'll be an alpha, but you never will be. You're only ever going to be a fat loser that could only ride coattails. You will now need to find other coattails to ride. Myself, I don't do well riding coattails. My channel bears that out. I could go, and I know how to speak to people. I know how to communicate. And man, it's difficult to get some and others, and usually you get one at least. But there's still people I could go to right now. Look at my channel. There's people that have been on that I can go to. The only thing is, the last time I had somebody on, it was Coach Red Pill used it, and it was terrible, man, because the guy that I had on is relatively famous, Count Dankula. And, I mean, Coach Red Pill is, dude, he's worse than Tonka Saw because he's intelligent. You see, there's a difference between Tonka Saw and Coach Red Pill is Tonka Saw wants to have his cult. He wants to have his cult. He wants to have his followers, his blind followers that will listen to what he says and absorb what he says, that will take the ethos of what he says. They don't care. The pathos is what he uses to get to here, but they'll take the ethics, they'll take the base understanding of his words and run with it to the nth, man. And he's created a little kind of a cult. But I'm going to say this, of course, Tonka Saw had a little bit larger thing going, but Coach Red Pill's, unless he decides to quit, will be going on for quite a long time, way longer than Tonka Saw ever dreamed of going. So here I am, crashed this stream, these morons. I'm gonna like they're talking about pictures, and I know there's a picture there, okay, but they keep mislabeling it. So finally, I'm on this stream. Tonka Saw says, "Are you saying that you weren't on a live stream and whipped your cock out?" I was like, "No, that never happened. You never whipped your cock out on live stream? No, never happened. To this day, it never happened. What happened is after a live stream, as I said before." I said, drunk, having fun. I was like, what? If y'all think I'm going to whip my dick out and start waving it around like an aborigine praying to the rain gods for Blair White to show up next week, you're crazy. And then a couple of girls, I've already named them. They already admitted it. Like I said before, whip it out, whip it out. Look, the problem is A, Tonka Saw seen my cock. It was probably a blow to his manhood. I'm sorry, Tonka. And a lot of people saw it because of these bastards, and it probably hurt other people's feelings. Look at my fucking hands. I mean, this is a glass. This is a regular tumbler, folks. I ain't kidding you. I'll get out a beer bottle if you want. This is a 16-ounce tumbler. What do you want? I mean, I'm a big fucking guy. And some people, and a lot of times it don't really matter. People that go big shoes, big feet, whatever. Things, there was all kinds of things that were the way, whatever it is. And it bummed him out. I got attacked. I got like threatened to fight. Man, look, here's the biggest problem is people like Tonka Saw are sending a message to folks. And look, I'm not trying to talk about woe the children. They're sending a message to all kinds of folks that you should put out this vibe, this thing. Man, you can't do that, man. Tonka Saw is a fake. He's a caricature. He's a character. He's not real. He's other than reality. He's spurious. It's something conjured up. He's made out of whole cloth, his whole thing. Now, I've admitted it. This is what pisses me off the most about this cocksucker. That's why we're talking about him. It's not because he's overly interesting to me. I didn't look, man. But folks, it was so interesting to me, and I was so hung up on everything about these folks that I didn't even know about it until about 5-6 days ago, and somebody said they were going to be fighting. I was ready to go. I'm so glad I didn't just drop it and go, because as I was saying, now I'll get into that. Mrs. Ogre is now in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and at the memorial service for our beloved grandpa. You know, a lot of us men didn't go, and it's not that we boycotted it, but Grandpa didn't even want a memorial. There was people that just, anyway. And I was on I didn't go. And that said, I'm glad I didn't go down there because A, it didn't happen, and B, even if it would have happened, and everybody knows, who knows? Press 1 if you heard me say I had $20 on Worski. This was before Tonka Saw dropped out. Did not qualify, DNQ. That's what it is, a DNQ. And it was like, oh, it's a DNQ. Man, think about it. How many fighters? I'm not even going to try to go through the liturgy right now. How many fighters have not made weight, did all kinds of shit, effed up names and blood tests just because they knew they talked a lot of I'm going to tell you right now, folks, listen, Worski took this seriously. He went 3 months. He was serious, man. Did y'all see him when he went in the ring? Did he look unfit? I'm not saying he looked like the picture of Spartacus, but he looked damn near as good as Michael Douglas did as he was in that fucking role at the time. I'm just telling you, man, he went in there, you could see, and you could see even because he was like, fuck enough with the funny thing with the wheelchair. I'm taking off my robe. I'm coming. I'm walking down in there, and I'm using this as I need to use it as my little bit of time to say, where you at, Tonka Saw? Where you at, bitch? You want to call? And listen, I won't even lie. I say that on the clip on Medicare's channel. I'm like, oh, I needed this to blow off steam. Look, I was in a character mode. I didn't need that to blow off steam. These people harassed me. I was there for 2 hours. I was told then by many people, no, you shouldn't have done that. Why? I say yes. Not only should I have done it, but time is bearing me out. Now I've made record and shown that just because these assholes, just because I did what anybody could do. I took all the time I could to be there, to have them mute me while I was muting them and unmuting myself and playing the hand slap game. It was like a bunch of girls pillow fighting at a fucking sorority swearing ceremony, man, playing ass grab and trying to break out the biggest dildo. I don't need to break out a dildo, Tonka Saw. I got a fucking schmeckle. I don't need it. I don't have to lie to you. I've been in fights, my friend. Lost some, won some. I've been in street fights. You know, the difference between you and I is I don't want a street fight. I don't want a street fight. I've been in them. You don't know what's knives, guns, chains, buddies. You don't know what's going to happen. I've been carjacked, beaten, and left for dead. It's not shocking news for anyone that's followed me for any length of time. What would you, how would you push someone? That's what you did this time. You pushed someone. You took this human being. You saw someone you could absolutely squeeze into a corner and take everything away from and say, oh, now I'm Tonka Saw because they didn't do it. No, he did everything, man. I'm going to say this. I want to be the first to say it. Round 2, Tonka Saw and Worski Boogaloo. You got me? Round 2, Tonka Saw and Worski Boogaloo. He talked so much trash. He said, hey, look, it got canceled this time, and I'm going to guarantee, but this time they got to do it in Canada. You think there ain't some place in Canada that's seen how many people got canceled out of the, but he's got to do it. He should have to put up some money too. That way, if he does skip out, he cancels out. And I would say the going rate is for this type of an event is usually about $5,000 to $6,000. You know, you pony up $5,000-6,000, and that's the weigh-in fee. It's like when you're cockfighting or when you're dog fighting. You don't just, I mean, you're going to scratch fight. You don't just fucking bring the roosters and let them go at it. Everybody thinks it's like hillbilly. It's bullshit. These people are masters of their craft, just like this UFC. And you said you were part of it, man. Tonka Saw, I tell you what, man, I don't even want to go there. I want to go on a rant and tell you all and go into great detail about, you know, how I'd like to have a chance to fucking double leg takedown, to armbar possibly. And if that wasn't possible, double leg takedown to just complete ground and pound. And the first thing I would have looked at was try to beat him down. But I'm a big guy. He is a little guy. I don't know if he can fight or not. Tonka Saw, I still don't. I still do not know. Hey, man, listen. No shit. I know we're a small group here. But do me a favor, y'all. Tema, Beams and Destruction, Jensen, Quinn, all y'all that are listening right now, and the ones that ain't made no comments, listen. Press 1 if you honestly do believe that Worski would have kicked his ass. I've got pictures of Tonka Saw. You know, I've got pictures of him. He told me on that thing, on the clip from that Mr. Medicare used. He said he was in my weight class. Are you shitting me? Can y'all see me right now? I mean, I'm not trying to brag or anything either. Can y'all see me right now? I'm 245 pounds right now. That's what I weigh. I'm not happy with that. I'm ashamed of it. This is the first drink I've had in 4 days. I haven't been live streaming. Look at my channel. I've been doing shit because I've not been, man, I just cold turkeyed it. And after today, I'm going to go back to the white knuckle cold turkey. Why? Because I don't want to drink? No, fuck that. I love my boozy, but it ain't coming off the way I'd like it to. So anyway, the point being, he seems like he was in my weight class. Look, Tonka Saw, to this day, now you're small, now you're nothing. So you're back to my class in your own mind. Come on anytime. And we could talk about anything. No, we'd figure something out. We could talk about anything. I've fallen in that trap before. But there's some topics I'd like to bring up. One is cowardice. Listen, folks, the difference between being a coward and being brave, it's so slim, man. We don't even know if a lot of us think we're brave, and then we get, you know, stuck in a situation where bravery is called for. It's necessary. And we find out it doesn't exist inside of us. I'm going to tell you right now, cognitive thought's a coward. failure accomplished, failure launched. I don't know what the hell he called himself now. The big fat Cuban mistake is he's a failure. Tonka Saw. These kind of people. Listen, I like Mr. Medicare, okay, but I worry about him, man. Look at what he does to people. You know, the toad in the road. Look, you can only live high up on a big, high hoggy, big, high riding, high horse for so long. You know, so we found out that Tonka Saw is an utter coward. We did. We know that now. It's undisputable. We know he is an utter coward. He didn't want to meet. He didn't want to meet Worski. After Worski put his head down, did the fucking Rocky thing, daggone, I put it in his soul, man. I mean, he can't. He did his thing. He did his thing. He did his shtick in the beginning, but then when called out as a man and was like, "I'm gonna beat you down," blah 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 blah. I'm the keyboard warrior from hell, man. Huh? What? I didn't see nobody there. It was like he didn't even put his picture up. I called it out. I think that's why my clip was chosen by Medicare. Because I say it right on that clip. Oh yeah, you're a big tough guy. That's why you don't even show your fucking face. You puny faggot. You puny. I'm saying it again, man. You know what? Oh, I wish they would have had anyway. Nah, and once again, I don't want to fight nobody. That's what it comes down to me. This is the only instant in my illustrious YouTube career where you can point to somebody like it comes down to fighting. I mean, I've been in some serious head knocking arguments with people on here too. You know, I mean, serious ones. Y'all have seen them, but only this once has it come down. That shows a lack of character. It really does. Let's play devil's advocate and go on the side of what didn't happen and never could happen and say, well, what if Tonka Saw would have showed up and kicked his? It wouldn't have mattered. Wouldn't have made him any less a coward. I mean, he's the alleged superstar wrestler. I saw some clips of his wrestling today. It was, I'm not sure if humiliating is the question. He was a jobber in a C league. He was the jobber in the furthest away from any kind of. I mean, this wasn't like the UFC. I mean, you can't think that it was anything like that. Because it wasn't anything like that. So I showed up to meet Chucky Lozano, man. Walked down Nelson Court. My brothers were there. He had some of his friends there. And the whole time that we'd fought before, the 2 times before, I'd never said a word to my parents. Like I said, man, the only person that knew that the fight was even with hands was my dad, the second fight, because I got a black eye. I want to keep that fresh in your mind, as fresh as it can be, because it's important here. This is important. It'll tie in. You'll see. So I come down off Nelson Court, got my brothers with me. He's got his friends. And as soon as he shoots in, I did exactly what I practiced with my brother George 1,000 times, it seemed like. I give him the old knee to the breadbasket as hard as I could. And when he went down, oof, I put him in the guillotine. I kept him in the guillotine. He bit me. He bit me hard. It plays in. And I never let go, though, even though he bit me. And then I started punching him. Boom, boom, boom. And I beat him down. And he fucking cried, uncle, everything. To the point. Because, listen, these other fights took place. One of my brothers saw one of them. You didn't just jump in, though, man. If 2 kids were fighting, it didn't matter if it was your brother. It wasn't like that. Now, I'm sure if I was getting hurt really bad, they wouldn't have let me get hurt really bad. Let me get back to the story, though. I don't want to digress too much. He went running home as fast as he could, screaming and crying. I ran home after him. I'll never forget one of the only times my mama ever really was there for me in the way that I think she should have been. But, I'm her son. I could be wrong about all this shit. I got a good mama. But I was right there. I showed her the bite marks. I was like, he bit me. We fought before. He gave me a black eye. Now he's crying. He didn't want you to start trouble. In the end, we were never friends. I look back at it, and in the like I say, in the dotage, in your dotage, in the reminiscence, in the reevaluation of your life in the twilight, most people will look at it through rose-colored glasses, much like I have on right now. And they'll look at it in this altered light, in this altered state, with this other filter on that causes them to give it all kinds of diamond edges and facets and the shine of gold and silver glints hither and yon, when it's just not the way it was. I did my best through combative sports with Chuck Lozano. And in the end, when I finally beat him at that, I used logic to his mother. And what it came down to was tribalism in the end, because when all facts were brought before my parents and the neighborhood in general, it was decided that not only did I kick his ass, I did it in the most gentlemanly of fashions. And as I mentioned, it was 1982 and I was but 8 years old. And I'm not saying, yes, I'm saying this for two reasons. A, to brag, and B, to say you have no dignity, Tonka Saw. This kid was scared because he was ready to go fight. You never were afraid because you knew you weren't going to, Tonka Saw. This kid was afraid, as I was afraid walking up Nelson Court. He was nervous. His knees were knocking. He may have vomited. He may have had to take a shit that could have passed through a screen door and not left a mark. He could have been so nervous that his guts were a churning and a burning, with that yearning to be anywhere but confronted with this stark reality of the pugilist answer, the bludgeoner's way out, which you, sir, Tonka Saw, stuck to the whole time. You 90-0, I was your first loss, Tonka Saw. I whooped your ass that night verbally. I whooped you, and I whooped Cognitive Thought. Welcome you on Cognitive Thought in my channel anytime you'd like with a moderator. Hell, you could choose them if you'd like. Bring them on. Because I don't like you either, and I would like to tell you why you're a scumbag. You're a user. You're a manipulative piece of shit that's never had a realistic idea that came from within you in your entire life. You've done nothing but steal, rob, try to emulate and imitate people that are so much better than you. When have you ever had an original idea? Have you ever written a paper? Have you ever accomplished anything? Yeah, I doubt it. I actually know the truth of that. So let me have a nice big drink here. I'm getting close to my final word. I'm going to crank this up. Y'all let me know now. I turned that way up because I'd like to be close, but I was, far enough away. If I could put some icing on the turd, on the giant steaming llama turd that is Tonka Saw, I'd say, I told you. I couldn't believe. I mean, I had people like attacking me on his bandwagon in this weird way. And I was like, these people, more than Tonka, the biggest load of cucks and pussies that were on display in this whole shit show that was the morning hypocrisy, the morning kumite, but the morning hypocrisy, as I like to call it, with Failure and his boyfriend Tonka Saw, were the people that went there. And now I have a little bit of a disclaimer on that. There were a lot of people that went and watched it and got a kick out of it that weren't the ones that were just on the bandwagon. There were a lot. There were a ton of them, actually. One of them that I would say for sure, definitely one was Tim Tarbox. In fact, I think I would say this. I feel bad. If I feel bad at all, I feel bad for Tim Tarbox. He was one of the ones that has always been there, been right by the side. And what do you want? Look, I heard it said it's over with. No, it's not. I'm going to say it again. Look, it's not over, Tonka Saw. It's not over with for you. It's not over. It's not. Tonka Saw versus Worski, the Maple Leaf edition, Electric Boogaloo. You know, you got to go do it, man. You have to fight him. That would be the only way out. A lot of people say there's no way out. I'm saying there is a way out, but there is only that way out. Good to see you, Adam and his apple. Been a long time, man. I love you, my brother, my beautiful brother. Hey, Ogre, listening in the background. Good to catch your voice live again, buddy. No problem, Adam. Anytime. I hope I'm entertaining you. And if not, well, we got to do what we got to do. Dogboy says failure is getting a pass from people. No. You don't need to get no pass. He is the biggest manipulator. He is one of the people that are the brains behind the deal. It's a pass. No. He don't. Well, not for me anyway. Not that I matter. And from cognitive thought, I mean, anybody can get a pass from cognitive thought as long as they're benefiting in him some way. He's the most disingenuous. He is the poster boy from I am an internet tough guy, intellectual. Just, I mean, like cognitive, like I mean, I will say cognitive thought because they're one and the same. Like failure, like Tonka Saw, they're one and the same. These three. They're like, what are they? They're the triune assholes of the internet. And that's the closest I could get. Hey, look, though, let me do this. So Adam and his apple, I love you, baby. Here's to South Africa. To the boar. Those of you that are curious, I'm drinking some Woodbridge today. Cabernet Sauvignon as usual. That's usually my go-to is a Cabernet. I like a red wine. Seems to make my problems go away. What I'm going to do now is I got to take a leak. I'm going to look and see how long I've been on. 59 minutes. So I'm going to go take a pee-pee. And I would like some other people's opinions. So if you're out there and you've been listening to me, and this is not the Kumite, folks. You might be new here. I see some new folk out there, basically because they don't have wrenches. Hell, I heard him mocking people like all wrenches. Well, fuck me, man. I don't have a lot of people follow me, but if they're here, I give them a wrench so they can leave any kind of comment or whatever it is they want. There's Johnny Fox. Let's see. How does it feel that Dongo was so wrecked last night? Well, I mean, I just said it. I think I said it. It's vindication for me. If I was to say it wasn't vindication, Johnny Fox, I'd be lying. Okay. But I knew I was right and correct before. There was no doubt in my mind. I went on. I mean, I had my finger on the trigger. I'm watching the mute button and they're muting me. I'm unmuting me. They're muting me. I don't have to take a break. I don't have to play any music. If you don't want me to play music, press the 1 and don't bullshit me. If you don't give a shit if I take a 5-minute break and come back, give me a 2. And you see how I made it easy for you to say, fuck you, just stay here, Ogre, and blow your voice out and don't take 5, don't take a piss, hold your urine, all that. So if you don't mind, if you don't want me to take a break, you want me to just fucking suck it up, press 1. If you don't, so I already got a 2, but it's all good. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Stonely and you boys, because I got to pee. And I want to get it. And Stonely, come on, man. I'm not going to flat out call you out because you're a tough guy. You're badass. But you know how to get on here now. I'm going to copy and paste it again. There's a lot of folks that have an opinion that ain't like mine. I'm going to be harsh in my opinion right now. Why? Because this guy like called me a fucking pussy, like say you want to fight me. And then, oh man, Kim, come on now. If you don't like Andy Worski a little bit more right now than you did before, you're an asshole in my humble estimation. I mean it too. I went sub to him, and I unsubbed to him a while ago. He's the one show. I mean, I just went through this whole deal. I just basically created the Kumite with that whole 2-hour thing, and I was completely done with these folks. Yeah, I know. I seen him, Johnny Fox. I'm sure he is. I go for like I did. I mean, I'm ashamed of it. I did admit it. I do go for 245 at the moment. and I'm sure he's in my weight class. I'm almost too fucking fat and huge to be a super heavyweight. You can only be so big. I think it's 265. I'm not, somebody will correct me. It'll be like 295, but you can only be so big. And it's like you're too fucking fat and huge to fight, dude. You could have a heart attack and die in front of everybody. Anybody remember Yarborough? Oh, now I'm having to have a brain freeze. Going back, way back to the King's favorite fight. To Yarborough was a big black guy from North Carolina. And anyway, look, I am having a brain freeze because I can't remember the guy that he fought. But I thank you for the twos. I didn't see any ones. I sure do appreciate it. Don't be afraid. Use that link, you fuckers. I'd like to you don't have to disagree with me, but you could. It'd be wonderful if you did. And you could give me your lowdown and the skinny on what you think about this whole debacle. And when I come back, I'll have about another 45 minutes in me. You know, I'll be able to jam till at least that long, and we'll see where we go from there. Boy, I hope this works. Son of a bitch.
Hey, boys, it's the men here to see you. Want me to shoot them?
I'm going in the backwoods of a two-bit-no town. Firing up some rock and roll, baby, so you mothers can boogie down. I ain't whistling Dixie. No, I'm a rebel with a groove.
Hey, boys, it's the men here to see you. Want me to shoot them?
I'm going in the backwoods of a two-bit-no town. Firing up some rock and roll, baby, so you mothers can boogie down. I ain't whistling Dixie. No, I'm a rebel with a groove. Yeah. All around the world they go round and round. When they dig on my new stainless steel sound. Oh yeah, I say I'm a lumberjack now, baby, and I'm gonna cut you down the sides. I'm a lumberjack now, baby, and you're the one that gets my prize. When you hear my motor running, you know I surely be talking to rise. Wow, so I'm gonna crank it up, go down, let it take it. Since my chainsaw, yeah.
Come on, man. Just switch over, you motherless son of a fucking godless whore, you. My luck, everybody heard what I just said. I don't even really give a shit. I mean, I'm just so tired of changing over from one thing to the other, and maybe one day I'll fix it. I do have the ultimate knowledge to do it. Thanks for muting yourself, Stoney. You just beat me to it. But all that music's off, mate. And I got my, I'll turn the speakers down now. So I got my headphones on. Did I go too far? You know, I don't know how much of this drama you know of, but long time ago, things were a little different on my channel. It was going in a direction, to be perfectly honest, I didn't like. And a guy that was kind of my co-host at the time, the Britisher, I mean, we had to split ways because he just didn't get it. That, yeah, it was fine for me that on Fridays to go on his channel. Shit, sometimes we'd have 600 people watching us on his channel. And then we'd be real straight, watch what we said. You know, he's English, the whole 9 yards. But then the rest of the time, I kind of wanted a small group of people. I didn't want the chat rushing by so fast. Fucking Stonely couldn't get a word in edgewise. Or some people like Captain Coalpile or Hammered Spud or I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And these people have actually been down and been the bedrock, and I've watched it happen. And then in the end, let's face it, it's Newton. What goes up must come down. You know, as high as you rise, you then must fall. So I don't know. You've been listening. You're probably here to tell me where I'm wrong, knowing you. You're going to be like, well, Ogre, this is why you're a cocksucking asshole with too big of an ego. And explain it to me. And you know what? It's fine with me. I don't really care one way or the other. What I care about, Stonely, and I want to demonstrate that, is what I believe. That's why my money was on Worski, because a man that believes in himself, that believes in his mission, that a man that is truly invested in what's going on, man, you don't want to. That's why a mother bear is dangerous when she's got two cubs. A year before, the male grizzly tears her to pieces. But now the cubs are there. And to me, Worski was the, and I don't mean any disrespect. Bear with me. Please give me the human touch. And I'm wrapping up here, Stonely. Let me know by unmute if you're ready to talk. No, I'm trying to make the connection because the ferocity with which this gentleman changed his life. I mean, Worski, when I didn't know about this stuff, folks, I just found out about it. And I was ready. I mean, Mrs. Ogre was kind of, she was like, oh, you mean we can go? We've followed UFC since the days of Dan Severn, man. You know, we've been in there for a long time. Gracie, when the Gracies were the ones that controlled it, we were there. So Stonely, all you got to do is unmute yourself, my brother. You're here. What do you have to say?
I'm just here to give you a
hug. I'm stoked, dude. I was on Mr. Medica's channel. I was on the front.
I can see you're very. I can see you're very bothered by this, and yeah, they got under your skin, and come on, yeah. I don't really understand the whole story, so it's okay. But yeah, you need a hug. Geez, you know, stuff gets to us sometimes. You should see some of this stuff. You know, we all have stuff that gets under our skin like that, and if we let it get in there, it's like a bug.
So my issue here was that even though, because look, as I've mentioned, this is probably in the last 2 years, and don't do yourself too quick. I want you to come right back. What I'm trying to say is that even though, because I would say I didn't let it get to me, I didn't let it get under my skin, and then I demonstrated that, but really with a truly outside observation coming from yourself, you're saying, no, it's obvious by the way that you're reacting right now, that even if you hadn't mentioned it for this time, that you have let this be a part of your life. And even though you're claiming victory right now, Ogre, in some small way, you lost because you couldn't let this thing go.
That's what. Yes, yeah. A little bit like that. It's gotten in you. And then it'll eat at you. It will. and I can see it's eating at you. And I mean, we all have that. We everybody got something that's eating at him. I mean, MC. I mean, look at all the things that's eating at him.
Hey, look,
he's got things eating at him from every goddamn direction.
Boy, he gets pissed. But I'm telling you, he's different than I. I think that's why you see it this way with me, because I think you're right. I think I have to admit that you're right. That I could sit here and get on my soapbox and I could be like, look, I was right. I've tweeted it out to several people. I was his first loss, and I feel that way to today. That's more proof. And look, this also, Stoney, I take this and I hold this up as a beacon. If you want to have a morning kumite, you want that to be, no, that's fine. This is what I've always dreamt of. I've dreamt of a place where even I, on my own channel, could reflect on myself. The purpose being, Stoney, that we all get a little higher. We all get a little more stoned. We all have a better footing on this precipice of life that's so hard to scale, mate. It all ends with us dashed on the rocks. That's the end.
Yeah, well, you got to talk to that creepy old man on the bench that your mom tells you not to talk to, because that's where it's hidden. That's where the knowledge is hidden, is in, in you, in me, in MC. I mean, everybody, we all have that little piece, and it's about sharing that and putting it and passing it around, and everybody understanding and getting that little piece. Sunflower seeds, I call it. It's like chewing sunflower seeds. You chew and spit. So take from it what you want. I don't really understand your dispute, so to speak, or your vengeance, or your
well, Stoney, to be perfectly, so let me condense it very quickly. I did a bad thing, and I know it was ambiguous, so I want to break it down from beginning to end. I with a few of my friends got the back door to a stream that was being hosted by a lady that has Elios-Dandros syndrome. I can't make this up. You can check it out. That means she can bend backwards. They're like these contortionist girls. She actually worked for Disney. I have my own opinions of her now. We crashed the stream. She's asking for money to like hang out with her.
So do you feel guilty?
Oh, no. No, what happened was, I'm showing you, I believe, I got my own thing, but I want you to come up with your conclusion. I think I know what it is. It comes down to a male phallus and a measuring device, I think. But so, boom, we crashed this stream.
Oh, no. It seems like your conscience is bothering you.
Oh, well, no. I would think that the thing that's bothering me about my conscience is that I let it go. I didn't pursue it when it was hot. And it was because I was listening to other people at the time. I mean, this is some really behind the scenes stuff, but I already mentioned my co-host was, man, I did a live stream, and when it was over, I had cognitive thought on. And then when it was over, he was like, dude, you got to take that down, let it go. Because Stoney, he's a lot like yourself. He's a very wise gentleman. I mean, sometimes you got to think around angles. That's the point of you being here and telling me this. So I need to quiet down now. So tell me again, where am I looking at this wrong? Could it be that do we hide things from ourselves? Things could be bothering us in ways that we don't even want to acknowledge. But apparently right now, in this case, to you, it's obvious that this thing has been more important to me and that I handle it in an inappropriate way.
Well, our conscience is our best teacher, really.
Yeah,
I mean, your own conscience.
Let's not lose him real quick.
You and so then it gets to you. You gotta listen to your conscience, because I can remember doing some bad shit when I was younger, and my conscience always got the best of me. I didn't even get caught. I didn't get shit with it. I didn't get trouble.
Are you there?
Nothing. Oh yeah, I am here.
All right, I'm gonna go radio silence till I figure this out, or it will look like I actually was trying to cut you off. Oh, this fucking thing is killing me.
Hello?
Yes, I should be here now. Now I should be here because I mean, in the end, I'm not going to get grumpy about this. So here we go. I'm back. I should be back now. Some bit.
Some bit.
Where were we at, Stoney? Catch us up. Catch me up.
Oh, I was just explaining how your conscience is one of your best teachers. I mean, your own. Just listen to your conscience. And I can remember getting in trouble when I was younger, and holy crap, I didn't even get caught, really, to speak of it. I mean, because it just stayed in the background, and somehow my own conscience just beat me up. I remember one time I stole something, a deck of cards from a store, and I don't know why I wanted this deck of cards, and I got caught, and the store owner took me in the back, and he made me sit there, and my mom and dad were in the bar, so he couldn't get a hold of them. So he finally lets me go. He says, "You go home, you tell your mom and dad to phone me." Well, I went home. I never did tell my mom and dad, right?
Of course not. Who would?
The next summer, I'm playing in a baseball game. I was just a kid, right? I'm playing in this baseball game. I'm up to bat, and guess what? My mom and dad are sitting in the bleachers with the store owner.
Well, so I think right now you projected on me. I really do on this, and I don't mean to just call you out on this right away.
Hit that damn ball? No.
Well, but see, we all have guilt, and I believe I won't be perfectly honest right now. I think not only did I not let this bother me, but I think because I kind of liked the Kumite, Stoney. So it took me about a month after I started it, and was just, I mean, my male member, while it was on camera and obvious that I don't know. I mean, I don't think most men would be bothered by that being theirs and like it being ridiculed. Well, it's right there. I mean, for everybody to see by people that mislabeled the way. So I don't believe it was conscience. In fact, what I would say this is how I'm going to counter what you're saying. I believe what it is indignance, and that sometimes, and myself included, that in life we are guilty of things. There are things that we glaze over. So even in our own subconscious, especially, man, when we dream at night, when we really survey ourselves and try to weigh who we are and decide if we're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, I believe it affects it then. And it can make us question it. But no, I'm going to submit that no, in this case, I don't. It's not my conscience. I'm indignant. I don't feel any. If anything, as I said, my conscience pricks me because I listened to people at the time and I did not attack. I've got to say this too before I cut you loose, though, Stoney. That there is something to be said for the crazy old man on the bench, or the Britisher, or in this case, Mr. Stoney. Because if we don't listen to these other people, if I don't listen to you now, and seriously, later on in the pensive moments of my life, while the fire's dying down and the rabbit's cooked and my belly's full, if I don't consider the things you're telling me now and reflect on the man I am, I could never be a man.
Yeah, and I came here to give you a hug, so there you go.
Well, you got to stay for the philosophy now.
You're a big old ogre, but I can still hug you.
Oh, Stoney, you've been an inspiration to me, dude. I've mentioned it 3 or 4 times. I'm going to mention it again. I found you in a den of vipers, this weird lair of snakes that were like, help us out, do cool shit for us. But think just like we think. Don't ever have an idea that's different than ours. And if you do, recognize you're incorrect. Say you're sorry, kowtow and grovel, and then we'll accept you back in the fold. And dude, that shit is always weird to me, man. The minute somebody's not saying I could be wrong, I'm over. I'm done with them. I don't want to, and that's me included. Anybody call me on it.
No, it's like Scientology or something.
Yeah. So, and I probably will get a little deeper into this, Stoney. I don't want to, and I'm glad you came on,
okay.
man.
That's okay, because like I say, I don't really understand the whole story anyway.
Well, in the end, I think the thing that really has me the most upset was this group of people. And we have a perpetuation now. We have to, and what I mean by we is anyone that knows who they are and doesn't want to see this kind of thing happen again. Can y'all, I got to say okay, listen, Stoney, I feel my conscience just pricked me. And this is for you. No, I mean it. And this is for you, mate. This is for you. I am now going to say something good about Tonka Saw. He donated a lot of the money he made on his stream, man. I watched it. He donated so much money, Stoney, to people that were going to get evicted. And I don't care if he's telling the truth and he's rich and don't need it. I don't care if he's lying and was sacrificing or it was somewhere in between. You dig it? It doesn't matter to me if he was a billionaire and didn't need the money, or if it doesn't matter. When I see somebody do that it makes me believe that this is a cry for help. And so I want to prod you this way, Stoney, if you could. I'm putting you on the spot too, and you can do this if anyone can. Is this a situation where when I hear people say he could not redeem himself, is this a situation where oh man, and let me tell you, this makes me humble myself to even bring this part of the conversation up, but I want you to run with it. I want you to explain to us how this could be good or bad. Is this a time? Is this the ultimate time for us to gather around Tonka and cover his nakedness with our collective righteous jackets? Is that what this could be?
What would Jesus do?
Yes, no, I hear you, but you got to speak on that. So I want to know what I mean. Stoney, I love Jesus too. I would not discount that, but I want to know what Stoney would do.
Yeah, the whore washes his feet, not the king. I don't know how to address it. Just what I would do, because I'm not in that position really. So you have to figure that out. What would Jesus do in your shoes?
He would find the good. He would find the good in this human being. He would downplay the evil that he did, and he would upplay the good and positive impact that he had on humanity. And the things that people glean relevance from and also like get the spotlight from, we should probably abhor that, Stoney. I think that's what you're telling me. We should try to help this brother.
Well, that's basically what I think Jesus would do. He would try to help heal this person as opposed to burn them. It depends. There's a fine line between savable and not savable.
All right, come on. I got to have another opinion on here, folks, because you can see me, and I'm always do this. Hey, they called me out for it too, Stoney. I'm the host here. This is my house. You've come to my house. What kind of a dick would I be right now if I just jumped up and started jumping up and down and screaming and yelling about how blah, 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 you were wrong or whatever? And I don't want, no one else should do that either. But also, join us here, folks, because I do think okay, Stoney, we're missing a point here, though. If you have carried on this whole time, let's leave me out of it for a second, because I can see where I could go wrong in this. Believe me, I've thought about it for a while. I thought about whenever I put this up. Stoney, you were on my mind when I made this podcast right here. Because I was like, man, No, I'm not shitting you, dude. I'm not kidding you. You are a fucking component of my conscience, mate, because I make you that too. I'm not giving you credit. I'm saying I put you there. I make you put it in that place because what kind of fool would anybody be if they don't consider what folks that they know are wise would think about their actions? They would be fools, and I don't want to be a fool.
Do you think I don't learn from you?
Well, I'm sure you do. Or
do you think I don't learn from NC?
Oh man, I'm sure you do, or you wouldn't go there. You wouldn't go there. We got memes too, and I've talked an awful lot, so I'm going to leave.
I mean, I learned from everybody as well.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you what, to catch it up. You've heard all this memes. I believe in my heart too that you lean on the same side. I don't know if it's the cold air up here and that I'm just a hillbilly transplant. I don't know what it is, but once we get up here, we get a lot of mountain men, and I mean men that are not betas. They're not necessarily alphas. They're what I would like to call.
Dude, I live in Alberta. I live in Alberta, Canada, dude. Remember?
Yeah, you're a mountain man. I know.
We're definitely alpha up here. We don't even got any of those other things.
Eat back bacon for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
We got women. Nelson. We got women and alpha males. That's about it.
All right, so let's get him warmed up here. Where am I wrong? Because I am gloating. I made the biggest clickbait. I just had 20 viewers. It's back down to 15 now. Memes, but you can see for my stream, this is a lot of people are interested in this. A lot of people, both of you gentlemen too, what they want me to do. And I would like, if anyone could give me kudos, I'm going to dig for them now. Anyone that thinks that that there's not a prod there, I just want to just scream in the camera and have the voice, all kinds of clips, one right after the other, and go, look how cool. Hey, but we got to look at humanity.
So I just popped on because I heard there were a couple of wizards about, so I wanted to be part of it, and I'm not gonna lie, I am impressed because initially I haven't watched Mr. Mediker's newest video yet. My phone was around 1% when I got up at 3 a.m. To go do snow removal at school. My first question was going to ask of the clouds available, Mr. Ogre, between 1 through 10, which cloud were you on or are on?
No. I've got the DMs, and with their permission, I'll share them. No, this is tough for me, man. Because if I gloat, I've got my people I look up to, like MCJK, like yourself, like, and then there are my peers. But you choose. I believe that in a situation like a real man, like I submit myself, your peers are your equals, or you're fucking stupid, man. And in fact, if they're not your equals, in my case, they should be, a little bit higher level than you, man. You want to reach up. You dig it? Because they can pull you up. We're not a barrel of crabs. So I'm going to be honest. The answer is this, memes. No level of 9. There was no cloud. When I heard about it, I was like, because Shy Mirror was the first one to contact me. It was like, you're the reason. Dude, memes, you know me. Do you think I really would find any joy in thinking that I was the reason there was this thing called the Morning Kumite? With that premise, with their premise.
I mean, possibly. I mean, let's face it, man. It's like you got folks on this side of the internet very often. There's a lot of smack talk. There's a lot of banter and everything. And you know what? I am actually extremely proud of you because I believe you have you leveled up. I think you're hitting the prestige class there, man.
I can smell your integrity, but are you looking down on this person?
No. Actually, because of his ability to stand character, to do the kayfabe, and to rock it as long as he did, no. As a matter of fact, I actually
you're looking up to him.
Yeah, I just want to be honest with you. In a lot of ways, I have to look up to Tonka Saw and go, wow.
is there a touch of envy in this, or?
Oh, well, no, because you could only no. We were talking about Owen Benjamin the other day, memes, and I would say this: you would only envy someone that was doing something you were incapable or unwilling to put the time in to do. So no, I would go back to again. I keep saying it's disdain. I have a large level of disdain for these people.
You feel ripped off.
Ripped off. No, I used to have. No, you don't understand, Mr. Stone. Long before you knew who I was, there were 70 to 150 people that watched me every day. Go look at my channel. I did everything in my power publicly and talked about while I did it to get the numbers down to about where they are now. Memes, you've been around for a long time. I think you could vouch for me on that point.
Had Mr. Ogre continued upon a particular path, he could easily have around 100,000 subs or so right now. But on occasion, he just chooses to do the whole self-immolation thing, burn it back down to a strong foundation, and kind of go from there.
And then you know also that the influence you have, I mean, my reasonings are very selfish. I want to know that the people I'm influencing but because you know what, Stoney, you and I are a lot alike. It's one of the reasons why I go back to you. It's one of the reasons why I think that in MCJK classifies, it's funny that us three gentlemen are here because we have now, we do have a panel here that represents a diverse yet very unified school of thought.
A brotherhood.
Do you all see where I'm coming from with that?
Yeah, I feel a brotherhood here.
It's you because we're very. I think that only liberals. I'm liberal. I hear them attacking liberal. Attack liberal. You're liberal. I'm fucking liberal. You could come to my front road here where I can see at the crossroads. As long as you're on public property, you could shoot heroin into your fucking cock, and I could see out my front window. I ain't calling the cops on you. I feel bad for you. I'm actually going to run out there and be like, hey, do you want to use my shed? And of course, that would be my prerogative. I don't think other people should do that. And I don't think you should be forced to let junkies use your shed. You dig it? And I think that's where we're all, the three of us. And we will always, especially you memes, because you're the best looking, the youngest, and the most vocal about it. You're always going to get looked down on that. We will always be the ones, oh, Ogre, at the end, you know how this is going to be viewed, memes. Ogre kowtowed to Tonka. He said he was going to be Ogre shoots. And in the end, he said he looked up to him. Hey, if you can't be self-aware, if you can't find good in the evil, you're doomed.
Oh, right there, you're breaking the meta.
If Memes doesn't move his camera, I will always be looking up to him.
Hey. Oh, it's too much. It was I would have to force it. It was too close.
Those socks look so warm.
Look, and see, there we go. That's what I mean too, Mr. Stone. I would just randomly moon people. I mean, there was a few times where I saw a bunch of people that were just listening to me and repeating what I said, and I would do the most abhorrent things I could do to get them to go away. Other people, they latch onto that. They see that and they're like, oh, these people are just listening and they love it. And then they do whatever they were doing before. Oh, man, I call out. That's why okay, listen, boys. Memes, I want to know what you think about this too. Am I wrong? This is why I love Andy Worski. He seems to be himself, man. I wish when I'm listening to Mr. Medicare, if they influenced him to get rid of that frog. Look, I didn't like him. I was vocal about it then. But there was a lot of people that didn't like me and Common Sense guy together, but while it lasted, it was good. I mean, because everything comes to an end. It was amicable, blah, blah, blah. But while it was great because, you know, you got to, and then to find out it ended that way. Memes. What the fuck?
Well, as far as the Worski JF thing, I think what people really liked was, like you said, it was the synergy between the two. Because you both had two very different personality types right there, where basically you have Andy Worski just kind of, hey, whatever's going on and everything, and the whole sheer fact that he looked very much like Jesse Pinkman, and you're just waiting for him to go, yeah, bitches, like that. I mean, hey, that drawed me in. I'm like, wait, Jesse Pinkman's on YouTube? But like, I didn't know. But then you had JF, who, even according to folks he's spoken with, say he is a very peculiar individual and stuff. And I think I kind of get where JF's coming from. He's very, he's very regimented in a particular way, very kind of intellectual, and then along with his accent, he often says things that confuse
Did you
people.
see the Medicare video memes?
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay,
no.
all right. So I don't want to blindside you, but when you see that, you'll get a little insight and you'll realize that he was being affected. And look, Medicare, I'm quoting him, and I'm not BuzzFeed. Medicare don't usually put shit in his videos unless he's got a track record. I think his word stands on its own. And I mean, you know, he was saying that they came to him and they were like, you need to fire him. And by they, I mean Tonka Saw and Failure. Look, they were so intimidated by that frog's gigantic intellectual cock memes. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me. And that's why they hated me. It's like, oh, this guy is not only manly. I'm going to toot my own horn. It might sound like I'm just going to be blunt. This guy is so manly. He's able to get people on and shit. We better shut him down and make a thing or whatever. So welcome here, Dog Boy. It's good to see you. Let Memes respond to that. And then as soon as he's done, tell us who you are. Just take over the stream as soon as Memes is done. You'll know your cue. You'll be able to tell.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ogre. But yeah, just to wrap up, and then Dog Boy can take over. I mean, again, I haven't seen the video yet. I think one of the big things with JF is JF would just kind of always do his own thing. He would do a stream and criticize Andy. I remember that happened about a particular issue, and then it's like, oh my God, you attacked me. You said something without double checking. Oh my God. It's like, wait a second. Aren't we on the side of YouTube where it's like we promote freedom of speech, independent thought, actually being able to put ideas out there, have them be challenged, and if those ideas can stand up to the fire, they get forged into something better. So, I mean, maybe that was part of the intimidation thing. Sorry.
Because when we get comfortable and in our comfort zones and complacent, and we get stagnant, and that's something I see going on. Well, was going on. Like now, you get somebody like JFK or Trump, for instance, or they stir the pot. It don't go bad. And that's really something that's going on today. Is there's a real pot stirring going on, and we're because it's got to be done.
Am I coming through all right? All right.
5 by 5, brother. Man, here it is. Here it is. I got a Nancy Pelosi. Excuse me. I've got to talk into the microphone, so don't bitch.
Speak to us, O Toothless One. So, man, I tell you what.
Shit, I think I can smell that. Jesus.
I tell you what. I wish I had a Mr. Stoneley I could talk to whenever I have one of these moral crises, because I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I came to your stream today probably for the reason that a lot of people click your stream today, because you have the right to feel vindicated. You do. And man, you're teaching a lot of people about being a man right now, and props to you.
That's very humbling, sir. I really hope to do that, because believe me, I got a little carried away in the beginning. I believe I had the right to do, but I always want to rope it back, and I want people to remember that the minute that we dance on the graves of our foes, the minute that we say stifle that idea, that opinion, that method, that fashion of being, that we're the only people we hurt are ourselves, and the ones that we say we want to protect from whatever evil we want to protect them from. The best thing is sunlight.
You're absolutely right. I think the only concern I have for you right now is I've had experiences with a real close friend who's, got a big alcohol and other addiction problem, and I've tried to help him, and it just never worked. And then thankfully last year, he hit the total bottom, and no one was left to help him. And so I thought, oh man, is this one of those things where where I reach out there and I'm trying to help again, and I'm going to get burned again, because we're talking 10 years of trying to help and being burned, you know? And, but I did anyway, and it's worked out, knock on wood, so far. So he's 6 months good now. But my only concern for you is, you're talking about, reaching out and helping the guy that we're talking about. And I would caution you to think that redemption comes after repentance. He has to be done and sorry before anyone can help him, including yourself.
Yes.
If you try to help those people that aren't ready to be helped, you will not help them up. They will drag you down.
MCJK has been talking. Hey, and Stonely, I'm going to say this briefly. I don't know if you're hitting on this because of this reason, but Stonely, MCJK has been talking about that for the last 2 weeks, intermittently, not like every stream, but he's saying about how, people coming over the borders illegal, he keeps connecting it. And he keeps saying, look, if you want to try to, if these people that have homeless and now they're slashing their tires, they say they want to help them. If someone doesn't want help, excuse me. Great point, boys. Y'all jump on that.
Yeah, no, that's right. If somebody doesn't want help, then you really can't help them. It's almost impossible. I guess you could hit them with a 2x4 and knock them out or something, and tie them up and put them
we try to get past the old caveman days there. If anything, that may have been a little misogynistic a couple of 1,000 years ago.
Well, listen, but listen, we learn by example. This is how people learn, is by example. And I don't believe in teaching. They you go to school, they got like teachers. There's no such thing as teaching other than using a 2x4. That's how you teach somebody to learn something. Otherwise, you show them and they learn it. It's showing and learning. Teaching is a farce.
And I want to stay on this thing. A Dog Boy has come on and he's touched my heart in a way that I don't know. As far as I know, Dog Boy, because I've been around here for a long time, dude, you could be one of their best friends and this is a troll thing. I doubt it. I'm not saying it is. Who cares? Because we so often we forget this. It was Justin Trudeau. They come out with the sticks and stones may break my bones, but sometimes names will hurt me. No. A real man teaches another young man, as Stoney was teaching me today, unabashedly in front of people that he knows. A lot of them I don't know. He sees new people comment out here. He's been around. But it's important to tell folks that aren't where you're at the current point that, listen, if you really want to get through life, if you honestly want to be able to sleep with the same woman in the same bed till the day you die, if you want to have that relationship work out, if you want to be able to have good business relationship, employees, employers, butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers, then you have to have a certain kind of skin. I really want to focus in on this as close as we can. So, Dog Boy, I think you started us on it. Would you tell me? I like Jesse Lee Peterson. This black dude has got a wonderful podcast. I'll talk about it maybe some other day. But he always asks this question, and I want to ask you now and give you as much time as you need to answer it in any way you feel fit. What is a man? What is it to be a man? What is a man?
Man, that's all right. So you're just going to come straight out swinging like that. Well, I don't know how familiar you are with this, but I'm a fan, a casual student of Stoicism, and the godfather of Stoicism is Marcus Aurelius. And Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, wrote in his journal, "Do not argue what it is to be a good man. Be one."
And that's what
example.
And that's what Jesus would say too.
That was beautiful, brother. So example, you're saying example.
Yes.
Because you mentioned, we had already someone mentioned, Stonely mentioned he hates the teachers. Who said the teachers? Because someone wise said that those who can do and those who can't teach. So we're getting back to this. Gentlemen, this is an open debate. To be a man, is it to be an example?
I would say,
Yeah, you damn
yes.
right it is. That's exactly what your role in this world is to be an example, and the best example. See, that's what Jesus was.
I think to be a man, I mean, everyone may have their own definition, what holds true to them, but I mean, I think at the core, at least for me, is when the time comes, you step up. Just, I mean, you can screw around your whole life, you can make mistakes for this, that, and the other thing, but when the proverbial shit really hits the fan, you gotta step up. You might not always succeed,
That's right.
but at least you stepped up.
And we started this conversation was kind of about cowards and stuff. Well, that's what I see infiltrating our borders right now. Cowards running away from they're not. Why are they not staying home and defending or fighting for their own homeland?
So if Manitoba, so you're say Stoney, I got to press you a little bit. You've challenged me. I'm gonna challenge you today, my friend. So you're saying you walk in the streets of Manitoba. You go from the shop. You're going to get a cup of coffee. You got this guy. He's got a '68 Cadillac. He wants to just sew. You're worried about mixing the paint. This is really. I mean, in the end, I think that there are so many things that are forced upon us that we have to agree with. I mean, shouldn't we once in a while? This is the straight up question, Stoney. Here we go. Let me break it down this way instead of around the bush way I was just saying it. When is it proper for a man to become angry? We just said a man is an example. I think we were we had a quorum on that. A man's an example. So as a man is an example, when would he be a good example to lose tempers harsh? To display his temper.
Listen, I don't want to come off as some Peter Pan or anything. I lose my temper quite often. My job is very aggravating and frustrating at times, and lots of things. No, I lose my temper all the time. But I feel bad about it afterwards. You see, that's the reverse of it. It comes back at you tenfold, and all of a sudden I feel really bad about, speaking out or raising my voice about something, or telling somebody, giving somebody shit or something, and then it backfires,
So you've added an addendum to Dog Boy's original statement that a man is an example and he reflects and understands when he's made a mistake,
right? And if
without being told.
And if I lose my nut and lose my temper, I'm setting a pretty bad example. I'm generally alone when I do it, and they're inanimate objects, and I kick the shit out of them. But
I've got to ask it then, Memes. What started this in the beginning was me being a complete character, me loving some people that were so kayfabe that they just, I mean, some of the folks. I'm not going to go through the list.
They heard you.
What is it though? Is it when can I do that, Memes? When can I play a character that everyone should get and everyone should know? Oh, he's trying to be Andy Kaufman today. Shouldn't I get a little playground, a little area with that?
Well, I mean that'd be very nice. I think over the internet, it's one of those things that's hard to tell at times, because at least in the classical YouTube sphere, you'd have guys like Boogie, and then he'd have, what is it, like Francis or something, his actual character. Like they would actually play a character and separate that from themselves. I mean, this happens on
I
SNL
wanted to be more
years.
cerebral. I wanted people to figure it out. I had to say it too, and you know it, fucker. They made me break so carry on.
Well, that's the problem, man. You're an eternal troll. You're like me. You can fade in and out, and people aren't sure. And when they're unsure, they go into the zone of chaos. And then our minds go to the worst possible place. And then all of a sudden, the ad-hom nukes are flying and everything. And folks can't be friends anymore. And it's like, what just happened? Oh, we had a disagreement. Did we actually disagree? No, so-and-so was just trolling. Oh, well, fuck them. I mean, that's the state we're in, man. It's a very sad state that We just can't have a little fun, have a little, some pokes, some banter, some jabs. And if something really bothers somebody, what do we do back in the day? You pull someone aside, you have a conversation, you send them a DM on Twitter, this or that. Do you really need to make a 3-part response video series saying how this person is the worst person in the world? Unfortunately, that has been incentivized, especially on this side of YouTube. Why? Because folks are getting paid, and people like to get paid because people need to survive.
And gentlemen, I want to, Dog Boy, if you could start on this next little idea here, you're probably up to bat. So if you've got an idea on this, but I've got to bring this up because Carl is often over there on MCJK's stream. Great guy, intelligent person, unique individual, and he's just said, Ogre, you can be Kaufman. Just don't be the infected pus-filled boil on the shoulder bit that was never funny, just gross. So what I want to put it this way. I think, and if I'm speaking for you and incorrectly, you can correct me now in the chat there, Carl. But I think what he's saying is there are no rules, but don't break the fucking rules. As men, do y'all get that? Do you get that, Dog Boy? Does that make sense?
I get it. I mean, it's the same as war. How the hell does war have rules? I mean, somebody coming at me with a gun. I'm not gonna follow any rules about how I kill him. I'm gonna use whatever I got. I don't understand rules in war or combat or anything like that. It makes no sense to me. Yeah, no, you bring it, and I'll blow you up.
Wasn't there a saying about that? There are no rules in love and war, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the saying.
Dog Boy, you're on. Go on. I want you to comment about this topic right here.
Well, what I would caution you of if you're going to channel Kaufman is don't go too far, because look what it did to Jim Carrey. He's fucking crazy now. So
you think that had to do with him playing the?
Oh, I don't know if that had something to do with it, or if just being able to separate from the self so deeply leaves a void that gets filled with something else. I don't know. I don't have the answer. He's played
so many parts, he doesn't have himself in the cards anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you look at that guy's real life right now, I mean, the things he's saying, doing, and has been saying and doing, he's lost.
I've got to do it. Is that what Dog Boy? Is that what Tonka did? Did he play someone else so much that there is no Tonka Saw or whoever we don't even know, and he doesn't even know who he is anymore? He doesn't exist.
Well, we've all seen, I'm sure we've all seen all the videos and things people have done on Tonka, right? So we know what we've seen. And I think that's all anyone knows of the situation, really, except for himself and the people really close to him.
It's fucking sad.
We were talking about how your conscience affects you or conducts you.
Yes.
Well, okay, now you try and put yourself in Tonka's shoes. What's his conscience doing to him?
I don't think he has one. Maron, what fucking conscience?
Yeah,
well, I guess if he,
how could he just do this? I tried to open it that way, Stoney.
Wrong, but...
Stoney, I didn't want to go fight Chuck Lozano in 1982. I did not want to do it. He kicked my ass twice. I showed up. I happened to win, and I even said I had to go be diplomatic and show his fucking bleeding mother the teeth marks in my fucking arm. And then other boys came to my rescue that day. I didn't really talk too much about that. And they were like, yeah, and he beat him up twice. We saw it. I mean, you know what I mean? And finally I won, and now no, there's something disconnected with this man. And I believe this, though, boys. I'm going to be transparent. We should feel pity. But the kind of pity you feel for an autistic, or the kind of pity you feel for someone that was born with a fucking serious hair lip or cleft palate, the kind of pity that's like, damn, man, it sucks to be him. But as long as they're trying and doing their best, I just don't see no trying and doing their best. He took manhood, and he made a fucking mock of it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that 100%. I pity Tonka right now. I do. I mean, there's a part of me that says, God, you know, that's as far as you can probably fall. Although he's making new ground all the time. He hit bottom and he found a basement, and there was a sub basement, and he just keeps digging.
Here's my position. I don't care about Tonka. I care about you, Ogre. And,
thank you,
I can see how this is bothering you.
Well, because I didn't want him to fall. I feel like my bad. Okay, Stonely, I'm gonna be fucking transparent with you, then, you motherfucker. You're obviously gonna be like my shrink and keep pressing me. So here you go. I feel bad because I didn't want him to make it, and now it looks like he's actually failed. And we should never, no matter what anyone has done to us, we should never want them not to succeed. That's business. That's like the old time mobsters. They look, you people and I, right? You mix business with yeah, you know, with what your feelings are. I'm trying to get this out, and that's it. Memes, go ahead, but that's it. So I feel guilty because I have wanted him to fail, and now it looks like he actually has. And I should have never desired for another human being to fucking fail. That's not a man.
You shouldn't feel guilty. You should not. You should not feel. You should not feel guilty because you did not make him fail.
Guilty, but that. So I asked you earlier if you were feeling guilty, and now you're telling me you are feeling guilty.
Well, because you've pressed me and you've made me think about it. So yes, I just said the actual guilt I feel because I'm not a man. Does it, and I appreciate it, Dog Boy. I appreciate everyone else, and I know that Memes is very polite and he wants to speak. So let's all be polite. Let him speak. But I feel it, boys. That the fact of the matter is, a man does not sit there and be like, oh, he did something a different way, or I don't, and I want him to fail. No, you say, hey, I don't like the way he's doing it, but hey, you know, Mazel Tov.
Yeah, and Mr. Ogre, this is what happens when you start getting some good wizards around you. I mean, they're gonna open you right up. But what happened here? You had a man who, yeah, you guys ran a stream raid. It is what it is, but in turn, and from that stream raid, basically you had the first instances of the Kumite actually starting to arrive. So you had a man that basically shit all over you, and you wished to see him fail. You wanted to have Schadenfreude. You wanted to take pleasure in his downfall and his suffering. But when the time actually came and he fell, you didn't truly have that. You actually had some guilt. That says that you actually have feelings for your fellow human.
I get the meat. I have the meat in my mouth now. I made the kill. I have it, and I bite down, and I taste no seasoning. Yes, you got it.
It's very bland there. And as far as Tonka goes, I mean, I don't know a huge amount about the guy. I'd occasionally, oh, Kumite, oh, what's this? Oh, it's been streaming just some random roll for 3 hours with nothing here. I'm like, oh, this seems kind of silly, so I never really watched it. But as far as
you know what seasoning would have been, boys? Seasoning would have been Worski kicking his ass. I said I had nobody took me up, but I said I got 10 for 2. You've heard me, Stonely. I got 10 for 2 because I know you, Stonely. You're like, oh, here's this fucking guy going off about this dumb shit again.
Listen, you're saying there's no spice in the meat. It's even worse than that. It's bitter.
It's bitter. It's rotten.
Bitter.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
not
right.
kosher.
You're right. It's actually been gut shot. It's not. It's gone. It's gone over.
And
I think, you know, I gotta say this too. But you've got to talk. Go ahead. But after this, let Mr. Dog Boy, because he's new here, man, and he's got some good points. We've got to get to the core of this. Is he manly? Is manly talking about what you're going to do, or is manly Andy Worski? Can we hold him up now and say, hey? He didn't even get a chance to fight, but he took. Did y'all see him before when he was like lighting his titty on fire? But he was a little chubby for his size. And man, when he took his fucking thing off and got on that wheelchair, he looked ready to go to me. I believe we can hold him up as the pinnacle of man. He was scared. Anybody thinks he wasn't afraid, they're stupid. He believed it. He believed Tonka Saw was tough. He was prepared. Boys. Look at me. I'm telling you the truth. And then Dog Boy, comment on this, please. Please, Dog Boy, you right after this. He was preparing himself to be defeated with honor, and he didn't care.
Oh, yeah. I don't doubt. I was surprised because I'm not a big fan of Andy Worski or Tonka or any of it. But I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, happily surprised that in the last 2 months he turned himself around. He started bettering himself. He took it seriously. And you know what? I think I saw someone make this point earlier today. You there was a very strong chance that no legitimate organization, not just MMA or anything else, would have taken YouTubers seriously in these kind of pursuits ever again because of all the stuff Tonka did, had it just completely failed out. But Andy going there, being in shape, delivering that speech, which he never stuttered, not once. He delivered it true because it was truth. And like Nelson Mandela said, the truth, even if it is whispered in a thunderstorm, will be heard. And Andy did it. He said he showed respect. He showed the fighters respect. He showed the industry respect, and he gained a lot of people's respect. I don't really know much about Andy, his politics, or what he believes in, but in that moment, I was 150% behind him because he was doing the truth. And that truth is, you can't escape the truth.
It's example. It's example.
Yeah.
See, these people are learning to teach by example. That's the only way we can teach each other is by example.
That's the thing. And somebody pointed that out in the chat. I think it may have been Carl. It's just many people, I mean, for them to actually believe in something, they actually need to see it happen to truly believe in it. Other than that, you are just going on blind faith, which definitely has a point, because if someone has yet to do something, if it hasn't been done, there is no example. In this case, Andy stepped up.
You can speak out your ass. I don't give a shit.
Well, that's the thing. Andy stepped up. Yeah, and he was kind of, because what was the whole persona, the kayfabe of Tonka and stuff? He was kind of like the standard internet tough guy, yell a bunch of stuff at you and everything. And a lot of folks, they just backed down. Andy stood up to a quote unquote bully in this, and what happened? The bully backed down for whatever reason. But just one quick point, I got to give Tonka Saw credit on something. There was a point where he actually did stand up for Sargon on something. He's just like, you know what? I'm not going to throw this guy under the bus.
Do you remember what?
Do that. It was for, what was it? Like denouncing or something like that, where he's like, "Oh, these,
whatever it is." Kudos
to
you, because that's the point, boys. That's the point. Because look, the minute we can't empathize, but I want to ask all of y'all a favor right now. If you would do me a favor, if you can see the chat there, there's some pretty smart people out there making some pretty smart comments. I'm going to pick one of them here in a second. And then if y'all could pick one that provoked you to thought, Dog Boy, you too, you're part of the panel now. I appreciate you being here. These two gentlemen, they've been around a long time, but you fit right in here, man. You've been, it's obvious to me. Do you have any children? Do you have a son, Dog Boy?
No, I have dogs.
Oh,
that's why I'm a dog boy.
I hope you could find a. Are you as young as you sound? You sound like you're maybe 22. Am I wrong about that also?
Oh, bless you, man.
Okay, so
I wish.
Well, you seem like a very wise young man. Like I was thinking, man, this guy's talking some serious stuff. So I won't ask you your age. A lot of people think that it's like just a girl thing, but no, I think that even some of us dudes, we don't really care to fucking talk about it because we remember what assholes we were when we were young, and now we're old. So anyway, that said, I'm gonna, like I said, a minute here. I'm gonna pick out one of these wonderful comments. I asked each of you do too, and then we'll get to wrapping this thing up in about an hour. It's going to be the end in an hour. I thank y'all for being here. I might have to take a break in about 10 minutes. If I do, I'm not going to play music because y'all are here. I'll just let y'all know if I do. Look, I think I've been listening to Jordan Peterson, and I watched him on Crowder's Comeback. I don't know if anybody here on the panel saw Crowder's Comeback. Show of hands, anybody? But he did it. He's just came back and from a long break. And he had Jordan Peterson on. And man, what he's to me, I don't want to, it's hard to say the quintessential man because I really don't know what that is. We're all looking for that. We all want to be that, I hope. But when I was hearing Crowder as the young man, he's a young buck in the room trying to steer the car. And please, if you haven't seen that, just watch that and you'll see what I mean. To watch a master that knew when to ignore the attempted conversation change, that knew when to laugh at the joke that was made at his expense because of his beard and stuff. And when all of it, I want to say this, folks, we are at a war. When I was a young man, we were all told to watch out for the Andy Warskis. We were all told, oh, that guy over there talking trash on it. He should have left his beer on the bar. Is it come to fruition? Is it the end? Is the internet age going to smash that, boys? Is this the end of it? Is there only phony kayfabe? And I say that I don't even want to say kayfabe memes, because I believe that kayfabe is a subtle way to train men how to be men, both heel and babyface. I mean, it could be either one. So that's enough. That's enough leading. I just fucking talked for nearly 3 minutes, boys. So take it over.
Well, I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, to be a man, to be the quintessential man, I mean, what the hell is that? I remember growing up, it's like, oh my God, no girl's ever going to want me. Oh, I don't look like Fabio. I don't have these long blonde locks and stuff like that. And then it's like, oh, wait, if you actually be yourself, if you actually like have purpose, actually have meaning in your life rather than just getting by, just the simple pleasantries, hi, bye, then you realize people are actually interested in people. Somebody out there probably actually gives a big shit about you, or at some point they can. You should probably say it more eloquently than that, and I'm sure Professor Peterson has. I mean, that's why I told him he was a pretty good wizard back in Boston. But as far as all this goes, I think Tonka, I think he's a man in pain. And I can't really confirm this, but I think he had great hopes and dreams for perhaps be a professional wrestler. I know because I considered going down the same path at one point. I walked into Killer Kowalski's old pro wrestling school up in Andover, Massachusetts. I walked in there. I said I would like to join the business. The man asked me for $1,500. I walked out. I meant to go back at some point, but I didn't. It didn't happen. And I think that window is closed at this point. But if one window closes, another door always opens. So I think with his injury or whatever happened to him, that got taken away. So he wanted to do the next best thing and bring that kayfabe to the internet, become an internet personality. He was doing that, but then he didn't actually step up. As a wise man once said, don't sing it, bring it. Gentlemen.
I'm thinking here about what you asked, and in the older days when I used to love professional wrestling as well, Greg Valentine, Roddy Piper, they were larger than life. They were caricatures, and the audience knew that they were these. They take one characteristic of masculinity and just ramp it up to 11, and that's what they were. And the problem with doing that online is that there's no disclaimer. There is no visual difference between looking at Tonka Saw's channel, or and I'm not just picking on him, any channel where someone behaves in a larger than life way, and someone who's being just genuine and from the heart. Visually, they look exactly the same. So you have to be a discerning audience. And I don't know if the younger viewers are that discerning yet. I don't know if they know the difference, or if everything's just memes to them and people don't matter. They're just pixels. I don't know what it is. But I think where Tonka Saw really screwed up, if that was his goal, to play the kayfabe character, he should have left it online and never brought real life into it, never challenged people real life. Let's not forget that Andy Warski is the last of a litany of people that he challenged in real life, Ogre included.
Well, and I got to say this, memes, you've known me the longest here. I think you've known me for going on 3 years. If you're being completely transparent with me, because you've said some things, and from the time frame you said a long time before, I'm guessing since I've been on Drunken Sailor style, you've been around that long, Captain Coal Pile style. Have you ever You've heard heated debates with me, heated talks. People called me a moron, me saying they're dumb. Both people exposing where the moron may be and the dumbness may be. Have you ever heard me off the bat be like, let's go fight?
I heard you respond to Tonka Saw saying that, but he may have
we
thrown it out first.
Off the bat. I wanted to make it clear. Off the bat. No, once he said, let's fight, I was like, dude, you want to fight me? Because anyway, I'm not going to go all. So, yes, the question stands. Have you heard me just maybe like.
I can't recall any times
no,
where you're just like, IRL, let's fight on the internet.
Look, dude, it's so crazy. Because I think I even mocked you one day. I was like, oh, memes, I look at you and I think, I know I did. I was like, I believe in my head I'd beat your ass or whatever. Don't all of us men believe? Don't you look at me memes and go like, yeah, if I ever come down, I fucking punch that big fat fucker in the mouth. And, because we're men. There's nothing to be ashamed of for that.
We'd be wrestling.
There's nothing to be ashamed of for that. That we would have a drunken wrestling match that would end in us both with bloody lips and hugging each other while we looked at the stars. And I'm like, I mean, we've all been there. It happens.
I'd be there rolling around with you and hugging you. Yeah, you damn right.
It happens. In fact, Stone, you're Canadian. That is as Canadian as it gets. It just doesn't end in America with blowjobs like it does in Canada.
Come on, let's get out the fucking bar.
Stoney doesn't worry about anybody because if anyone comes in his shop, he's got a freaking 22-ounce wrench he can smack someone with.
I'm just thankful I don't think he heard the blowjob comment. I mean, all right. So look, boys, and we're rapidly approaching. You know me too. I've got to look now. Ooh, 2 hours. I will not go over 3 hours. This touches my heart, boys, in so many ways. I believe this.
I came here to give you a hug.
You did too, Stone. I gotta say, of you're only second to, and it's because of the longevity of our relationship. But listen, I've got friends like you, Stoney, because I choose them and I cultivate them and I want them around me. And I would never want a yes man or someone that agreed over there or someone that said
we are our brothers keepers.
And you did something very unique, and I want you to admit to this. You did hug me, but you did it after you backhanded me. You had to give me the, you had to give me the clap. You did, and you did it for a reason. You did it because you love me, and because the hug would be useless. It would be worthless if you cultivated another Tonka Saw.
I do believe a wise wizard once said sometimes a 2x4 is needed before a hug.
Yes. And I can't suck up all this wind because we are going into the last leg. We're going to the third leg of this. And boys, you all have hung in here, including you, Dog Boy. I thank you so much. I don't want to kiss somebody's ass. I've been accused of that many times just because I want to be a good host. I hate the disclaimers. I just made a little disclaimer, So, but it's going to go by fast. And we will end it 20 minutes in advance because 5, 10, 15, 20, we will each have the opportunity, Dog Boy, you're new here, for a 5-minute uninterrupted. No one will talk over you. No one will interrupt you. You could say whatever. You could get up here. I'm a Jew. You could say the KKK took my baby away. All Jews should be put into an oven and die. And that would just, you got 5 minutes. Please don't do that. But if you did it, you dig it. So I want to let someone else have the opportunity to this last hour. I'd like to stay on the topic of manliness and manlyhood, but I'd like to let someone else give the topic. I've been, going with them, and I feel like my last one's weak. So does someone else have this some frosting to put on the cake of manliness? I'll give you 5 seconds. First one to speak up.
Well, Mr. Ogre, I'm not sure if you meant it or not, but some may take that as a double on Tom if they actually clip that out. But you know what? I understand what you meant. As far as manliness goes, I mean, it almost seems like it's kind of a war on masculinity. It used to be something that we held high and we revered, and now we're kind of getting told that we're toxic for being men. And even with just the Gillette ad more recently, you take a look at that. And I mean, I personally, with my most charitable interpretation, I think it was a waste of actual potential. Because if you did something similar rather than just, oh, a guy's looking to flirt with a girl, there's some kids rolling around on the ground or something. If you literally had taken actual instances where, like, there's a gal that's pretty much falling over and a guy's like, oh, let me take her home, and all of a sudden you had a guy step up there, it's like, yeah, I think most dudes would be like, yeah, dude, I'm not going to let a freaking gal that just doesn't even have her wits about her or anything. It's like, screw that. No, that's stepping up and being a man, protecting an innocent woman there. Because I've seen it. I can pretty much guarantee almost everybody on this panel has seen somebody step up at one point or another. If you had done stuff like that, and maybe you interject some Professor Peterson clips in there, I think it could have been a powerful thing. Although the one thing in that ad that bothered me more than anything else was the sheer fact you had two little kids just engaging in rough and tumble play. And it's like, no, we don't do that. It's like, this is literally how children learn. This is how boys learn their limits, the capacities. This actually hurts a person. If any of those kids actually do get into a fight, if one bigger kid ends up starting to beat up a smaller, less strong kid, he might freaking kill them because the kid is screaming. He's just like, he's in the blind rage and he doesn't know the limits of his potential there. And it also violates one of Professor Peterson's rules: don't interrupt children while skateboarding there. So I bloviated for a minute. That's my little piece there.
That was beautiful. So you boys got it. Whoever wants to piggyback on rock and roll, I've got no particular, but we've got open spots for Dog Boy and Stoney, and I will go last on this one.
Well, look, so how did we get here? Huh? How did we end up in this crazy soup? It's because we didn't teach by example. We gave bad examples. We allowed bad examples. We don't stand up for good examples. And you know, like Neem said, we bubble wrap our kids. Oh yeah, but nowadays it's so dangerous. Shit, I used to walk downtown get my mom's cigarettes when I was 10 years old.
Damn right, me too.
And now you can't let your kid out of the house when he's 10 years old because he can't. For one thing, he'll freeze to death or won't be able to look out. You get lost because you don't know where he's going, or somebody will get him.
You fucking raped.
And so, how did we get here? Bad examples. Very, very bad examples. And you can go to, let's look at the Vatican. Let's look at the church. Let's look at the Boy Scouts. Let's look at hockey. Let's look at all the pedophiles. What sort of bad examples have we exposed our children to? You know, and something that's really bothering me is the lie about Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny. Like, these are we bring our kids up from day one lying to them. These are things that have to be changed. These are fundamental things that must be changed. We cannot lie. As a parent, you cannot be lying to your kids. Or what example did you set?
Fucking assholes.
Yeah,
you mentioned that too, Stanley, because I agree. You carry on, but no,
all
that shit needs to stop. Don't tell your fucking kids about the Easter Bunny and that shit like it's real. It's fucking fake.
Don't lie to them. Don't lie.
You tell them you're looking over them. You say you're watching them, and if they do good, you will reward them on Christmas Day. Is that fair, Stanley?
Sure. I've seen a really good thing. You wrap up a whole bunch of presents and you put them under the tree, and every time they do something bad, you throw one in the fire.
Wow. Yeah, I see that too. All right, so we can't cut off to Dog Boy, but you wrap it up there, Stelly. I feel like I cut you off.
That's about all I had to say.
No, that was beautiful, man. I tell you what, that was beautiful.
We gotta live by example.
You often guise your opinions and your very strong, especially your very strong manly stances. And what I would say, let me just call it the Canadian cloak. But in the end, it is sometimes the most hardcore, manly, pull yourself up by your bootstraps or die, root hog or die, kind of thing. And for that, I really appreciate it. It's wonderful to hear it, in a way that's, you gotta, if it's going to have lumps in it, why not put a little gravy, right? I'm sorry, dog boy. I just talked over you.
Oh, no apologies necessary. You're familiar with Tim Kennedy, right? He was a UFC fighter.
Oh, yeah.
He was on Joe Rogan a while ago, and he said that when times are super easy, it breeds weak men, and then times get real hard. So weak men create hard times, and then hard times create strong men who create good times, which creates weak men, and it's just a vicious cycle that just keeps going and going. And we've been in in the West, we've been in a pretty good time, since the 50s. And so we're going on 70 years of pretty much nothing but advancement, innovation, invention. Everything's easy. If you have a cell phone, you have access to virtually anything, including therapy.
Hang on now. Let me give you the quote. And I want you to carry on. This is the second time you've done it too. What you're saying is that men of substance are never born from times of ease.
Oh, I'm not saying never say never, but easy times definitely make it so that the weak men can rise to the top. Because in easy times, there's no tribulation for a weak person to fight through, and therefore they can rise. In tough times, those tough times around them keep the weak down, so only the strong can rise to the top. And those strong ones at the top will then create better times. And it's just a cycle, and it keeps going and going and going.
So I should judge myself by my sub count or the amount of people watching me right now?
No. Never judge yourself by anything that you don't directly control, brother. Never. And it's what that brings me to the point I thought of earlier when you were speaking of your perceived guilt over you had wanted Tonka to fail, and then he didn't, and it wasn't rewarding to you that he had failed. You had nothing to do with his failure. All of his steps down into the dark have been by his own choosing. Nobody led Tonka by the hand to make all these decisions he's made. And from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing in the chat, he has reneged on his apology and deleted it. And he's doubling down with more excuses. He's continuing this downward spiral so deep that I don't know if anyone in the history of the internet has ever gone this far down. So don't feel guilt for this man's failure.
Damn, but can you see where I'm coming from though? Because
I do.
And you just said it. I see it too, mate. I see it. If he would have why?
If anything,
I gotta let you keep going. But why didn't he just show up? He didn't. I mean, Worski showed up. He didn't sign the right thing, and the fight couldn't happen. But he missed a play. He could have showed up that night, and then they could have done another. Oh man, I'm sorry I interrupted you now 3 times, but I tell you what, so far you and Stonely, and I love you memes, but just you and I think a lot, and I know what you're going to say. I feel like I can read your mind. You've intrigued me a lot tonight, so continue, sir. You've got 2 minutes left.
Well, all I would say is, instead of feeling the guilt over wanting him to fail, instead just look inside yourself and think, how can I stop myself from having that reaction in the future of wanting him to fail? But do know 100%, feel no shame or guilt for where Tonka is now. He's done that to himself. He would have done it had you wanted him to succeed. He would have still failed because all the choices ultimately are his. And the reoccurring theme seems to be, what is a man? And I think a man is a couple of things. I don't have all the answers, and I never will claim to ever. But I think a man is, your word is your bond. I think a man is,
well said.
You look out for you look
said, dog boy.
You look out for you and yours, and if someone comes to hurt you and yours, you give them the slap. But you don't reach out that slap unless you're defending yourself. And the other thing is, a man learns from his mistakes. Even if those are internal mistakes, even if those are things that made him feel bad, like you're feeling bad, and you don't want to feel that again, figure it out. Look inside, see what happened in you, and see how you can fix that. so it never happens again. And then you've grown, and growing is part of being a man. We don't start off great. No one starts off great. George Washington was a baby that shit his pants just like everybody else.
Hey, speak for yourself. I started out pretty damn great.
I'm pretty sure.
No, as I went on.
No disrespect to anybody, but I'm pretty sure
you're right.
Everyone in the chat,
he's busting your balls, man.
Everyone in the chat and in this call, at some point in our life, we were shitting our pants and crying for tits. That's all we could do.
Right now, I'm going to claim that, and for all of us, it would be questioned by some people. Right now, I'm going to claim that we are in the presence of what I want to call omega males, because betas are these assholes that don't understand life. They just want to get laid. They're the genesis of idiocracy, and of course the betas are the ones that are so full of hate, and they're just waiting. No, we're the omega man. I want to say, yes, we are. I'm submitting this to you.
There's alpha and beta, but we're the omega.
We're the omega men.
I love that. I love that.
We're the men that we have nothing invested in this. We understand our strengths and our weaknesses. We're fully capable and willing to have any kind of reasonable discussion on whatever the facts may be, but we neither think too much of ourselves so that we believe that we are in this vaunted place and everyone should bow to us and we should get all this sex and drugs and rock and roll, and we neither are in this position of hating and holding animosity and waiting and scheming. I believe that we're in the best position.
Empathy is a big thing, and you got to have empathy, and you got to be able to just
and look, we got an hour left, Stoney. Hang on, bear with me, sir, because I'm going to wrap this up. I have my last word on this thing. When we go into this next deal, what I want to do is I want to give because Stoney, man, let's face it, you should have the last word of this whole stream, but you ain't, fucker, because it's my stream. So you'll have you'll be right before memes, because again, I'm not gonna disparage memes, because as a man, I got to remember that even though sometimes I know that, and hang on, and memes knows too that you think a little deeper than we do. There's still this hierarchy. So hang on, bear with me now. Bear with me. Memes, hold on. Excuse me, Stoley, just hang on 1 second. So let me wrap this up, and let me get to the last ditch dealio before we go into our final word, which, so you know, dog boy, our final word will be anything you want to say. You'll have 5 minutes to say it. No one will interrupt you. I know I alluded to this earlier. I just want to drill this into your mind, because you're going to start us, your low man on the totem pole tonight. It will go in this order: yourself, Mr. Stoney, memes of destruction, and I'll wrap us up. Anything, dog boy. No one. If anyone cuts you off, I will mute them, and you will carry on as if nothing happened. Please don't go over 5 minutes, and please don't be like some assholes and they like try to have some really profound one-liner and then be like, that's all. Kudos to anybody that's done that in the past, but you're a fucking moron. Dog boy, you can do something better than that. So look, boys, listen, Stoney, you'll end us on this. This will be your last word. I will start the word on this. We'll go to memes, dog boy, and then Stoney, you wrap us up on this. Why is it? This is the hard thing for me, folks, because I appreciate everything said. Dog boy, I listened to what you said earlier, and just the last word you said, I'm not going to try to convey to you how much it means to me, because yes, I want validation. And this is the last thing. Why? Okay, I want to formulate this good, so I'm just going to ask it the way I want to, because it's very provocative. Why, as men, do we need the validation of lesser men and women? Why is it that in the end, we can chalk it up as Stoney did to your conscience? I don't have one, so I can hardly think of the fucking word. You could chalk it up to, I'm sorry, but I do. But we could chalk it up to conscience. We can chalk it up to logic. But why is it that we always, as men, feel like that we need to kowtow? And this is the question, that we need to kowtow to lesser men and women. Why shouldn't we assert that as the logical of the two sexes, and amongst other men, of the logical of them, why shouldn't we have supremacy at that? Why must we kowtow? This is the third time I've asked it, so we'll go in this order. I think I said memes first. Why do we have to kowtow to lesser men and women?
We don't have to. It just seems to be in our societal nature. I mean, folks typically want people to like them or want people to hate them. It goes into the whole, you could be famous or you could be infamous. It's basically you are notorious for something positive or negative. And just it's a form of attention, man. And you'll see this a lot of times in even places that have kids with like special needs and stuff. A lot of time you'll have folks that will actually self-harm themselves, do things that cause themselves injury and pain. Why? Because internally, they just want some attention. They just want to feel the touch of another human being. They want to have some form of acknowledgement. There's some folks out there that are just so freaking lonely that they'll just do anything for attention. I mean, we see this like when we're little kids and stuff. It's like, no, little memes, don't do that.
All right, memes, you're avoiding. Why do we need the validation? That's the question. You're talking about validation, but I feel like you're dancing around the actual question.
I kind of am, because I mean, but my answer is we don't need it. It's just, I think it's something ingrained in us that we feel we need it.
Okay, so since you got me there, as Omega men, why do we need the validation of lesser men and women?
I mean, I don't think we need necessarily anyone's validation, just really the folks that care about us. But I mean, people usually don't want to get thrown under the bus. People want to have some form of positive view in the acknowledgments. Like a lot of folks here on YouTube and stuff, they always try to put their best foot forward. Do this, do that. They don't want to go around and just show that their bed is a complete and utter disaster and stuff like that. Why? Because that's real. We try to create our own characters, man. I'm sure I didn't answer your question, but I think
no, you did fine. And I also forgot. I don't know if y'all had one. I had mentioned something about a comment in the side chat too. So if y'all want to bring that up in this, I kind of feel bad. But listen, side chat. Captain Copile once said about us being the band, and remember, the band may forget to play your favorite tune. So if I glossed over that, well tried, memes. But I feel like Dog Boy may show us all up here. Dog Boy, give us the blunt. Give us the blunt and dirty. I don't need to ask it again. You know the question.
The blunt and dirty is that Omega Men should not need or feel the need for the approval of lesser men and women. But I think that the reason that so many people do feel that need, because it's a want. It's not a need. It's a want. They feel that want. Is because while we evolved physically, we also evolved socially. And part of our social evolution was to follow success. If we were all sitting around a fire near a cave somewhere, and you came along and you had sharpened a stick, the very first sharpened stick anyone had ever seen, and you were a more successful hunter than the rest of us, we would all copy you. We would copy your success. We would want that.
And you'd be getting laid, man. Ooh.
Well, You'd be getting the biggest piece of meat and the biggest pair of titties in your face because you invented it, and we'd all want some titties and meat, so we'd copy your spear. Now, if a little bit later on Memes comes along and says, "Hey, I've created a spear, but it's not sharp like his. Mine has a butterfly on the end," his invention would completely fail, and no one would copy him. Now, as we evolved societally, we've started to treasure and thereby replicate and try to aspire to different things. And right now it's celebrity. It's about popularity. And there are ways to get popularity. And it means selling your soul to the devil. And it means saying anything that'll get you paid and betraying anyone that you have to get yours. Get rich or die trying. That's the mantra, right? Yeah. So that's why people are doing that. That's why it's ingrained. Because
that's so unmanly. That's so unmanly, boys. I'm gonna say that. Go ahead. But the get rich or die trying, that is the most unmanly thing. It's feed your family or die trying, you fucking beta and alphas.
So until we start looking at people like Mr. Peterson and great thinkers, until we start looking at the inventors and the innovators and the scientists the same way we look at Kobe Bryant, R. Kelly, and one of the Kardashians, things are just going to keep getting worse and worse. And so for us, it's really a frustrating time in history because we see the rise of idiocracy, like you said earlier, and we're screaming. We're yelling at the driver, you're going off the cliff, and the driver doesn't care because he's got his iPad ear pods in his ears, and he's listening to the latest Ariana Grande jam and thinks everything's fucking fine.
It's fucking. Was that Left Eye Lopez?
Yeah, yes. So in that situation, you've got two choices, my friends. You can either sit there in the bus screaming at the driver, or you can jump out the bus. Now, jumping out the bus is going to break your bones and scuff your skin, but you ain't going off the cliff with the other morons. So which one are you choosing?
Oh my.
And that's my statement on that.
Okay. And I've got to give this little wedge in here because I'm going to mention someone. She's one of the most provocative people on the internet in my circle right now. And it's not because she's so skinny and has those gigantic natural boobies. I mean, I look at her and it was like Base Mama's boobies. Base Mama is a disgusting pig. I don't know. And those are not boobies. They're udders. But what was I saying? Tema is saying, had nothing to do with her tits. I'm just mentioning this. We enjoy having our egos stroked. This is so profound here, folks. And as I open it up to you for the final word on this part, Stoney, before we actually travel into our be-all, end-all final words, I want this to provoke you a little bit. We enjoy having our egos stroked. We can expect others to help get those stokes to our ego. It creates the social... I don't know, man. Is that what we really need? Is that what we need? Are we all so afraid, Stoney, to admit that I needed that hug you came and gave me? I needed it too, Stoney. Thank you, sir. As you carry on. Thank you. I did.
Listen, without sexual advancement, none of us would be here today. Think about that. I mean, somebody had to do something. Sure, it takes two to tango, but did they both want to tango? None of us would be here today without sexual advancement. So that's kind of a corny. I don't like it. It really beats up on the whole heterosexual side of things. But the reason we're here today in this predicament is because before us, men were fucked. You know what men were doing before us? They were horrible pigs, sick, bad pigs. Especially here on the prairies. I mean, you hear stories of women that were just, and kids that were just totally abused and so those are the examples that were set way back then. And this is what we're dealing with today, is those examples that were already set in people and stuff. I mean, even with the Omega Men thing, I love that name. That's really cool. Omega Men. That sounds good. But the vanity behind it all of a sudden jumps in the way, almost like a deer. Venison.
Leave it to Stoney. I just made it up, but go ahead with your wisdom. But now you're right too. I shouldn't even have broke in, but put a little rain on it. We got to think wisely. So carry on, Mr. Wizard.
And listen, women are not left out of this equation either. They're very much to blame for the stuff that went on in the past. And they're just as responsible as men. I mean, we all gotta. Yeah. Balance. We need balance.
I think I heard the yin and the yang there mentioned.
Yeah, we got to have balance. And that's important.
And we're going to fast do it, boys. We got 3 minutes. So I've got 3 minutes to talk, and then we have our 20.
I'm done.
Yeah, well, I have to, Stoney. I have to, because I got 3 minutes, and then we've got 20. And, we probably won't all take 5 up. So far, even me with the blowhard that I am, 5 minutes is not a joke when you're trying to stay on, some kind of hopefully relevant topic. That goes for me, not you gentlemen. I'm sure that you all have your final words worked out in your head. I just want to say this. If nothing else, as we, each one of us, formulate what it is that we'd like to convey to, on my channel, gentlemen, we have a small classroom here. We have a community college classroom here. So, let your heart be enlightened. You have a group of folks listening to you, and it's important. A dog boy, memes, it is. Stonely, no one knows how important words are more than you. You're the one that woke memes up to his own idea of wizardry, and the fact that he wasn't the only one that considered the ability to manipulate sounds with your mouth and to utter reality into existence. I mean, it's a wonderful thing that we have. So I don't have any lead on it. I'm just filibustering. I would love to talk about that a little bit. MCJK covered it today. It's so great. I mean, we think of that Mr. I can't think of who's that? Jimmy Stewart. There was a movie he was in, Mr. Somebody or So Goes to Washington, and it was about the first filibuster. And man, our society, boys, and we're about ready to do it. I hope you remember the order. In case you don't, it will start out with you, dog boy. You are low man on the totem pole. Mr. Stonely, I love you and respect you, but memes has been around a long time. You'll be second. Memes, and I'll wrap it up. When I look at that and see the degradation, the memorial for my 94-year-old grandfather on my wife's side, her mother's father passed away last weekend. And the memorial that he didn't want, by the way, was taken care of today by people that knew he didn't want it. In fact, I was going to say for the most part, but all of them. Being a man is difficult. I'm not the only man in my family that didn't go. In fact, I want to tell you all with utter assurance, no man in my family went. Because we understand that even after you die, if you have done a thing so profound, it was mentioned today by Dog Boy, if your word has been as good as your bond, then people should respect your request and your word in death. So there we go, gentlemen. We know the order. We could talk about anything that was brought up today in the stream. It could be about Tonka Saw, it could be about fair, it could be about something we did not talk about, whatever's on your heart. You have 5 minutes. You will not be interrupted. You will not be scolded on this stream. And you surely, for exercising your sacred franchise being freedom of speech, ever be looked down on in this stream. Dog Boy, if you could start us off, sir.
Well, so there are 3 words that I put together more than any other 3 words in my life. Even more than I love you, which I say quite a lot. And those words are, I don't know. And it's not shameful to admit you don't know. And I think a lot of these people run into their problem with their ego, and their characters are created because they just won't admit they don't know. And if you admit you don't know, and you don't have all the answers, but you've got the seed of an idea, then someone else can add the fertilizer and someone else can add the water and it can grow. And sometimes, you know what, that seed doesn't grow into nothing. But if you admit you don't know, then you don't ever really truly fail. It's when you come out and you say that this is how it is. This is rock solid. It can't change. It's unaffected by the elements. And this is the truth. And you're sure of it. And then someone proves it false. And you still won't accept it because you've believed your own BS. That's where all these problems seem to come from. Whether we're talking about internet drama or real life drama or political drama, whatever. It all seems to come from people refusing to admit they don't know. But one thing I do know is that it's always better to resign your time to men that probably have more to say. And so I'll say, read the poem If by Rudyard Kipling. It's very good, and everyone should read it. And secondly, I'm going to give up the rest of my time. So thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
What a jerk. You just said everything I was going to say, you fucking wizard. Anyway.
Well, welcome, sir. Welcome to the Ogre stream, and fuck you also.
Fuck you, dog boy. Okay. Yes, I was going to say that's exactly how you know you're a wizard, is when you realize you don't know. And Jesus, I have another 3-letter word. It's or 3-letter thing. Live, love, and laugh. If we don't laugh, if we don't love, we won't live. And so you have to be there. You have to enjoy this. I don't know what the hell it is. Is this a moment? Is this a moment, or is this something more? It's a moment.
We're in the moment, sir. Yes.
Yeah, it's a moment. So we have to enjoy. We have to get the most out of this, because I might not see the next moment. Who knows? The last celebration that I went to, a celebration of life. It wasn't necessarily. It wasn't a funeral. It was a celebration of life, and it was so cool. I so hope that I get this done for me when I die. They had free beer and pizza. It was like a party. It was like it was beautiful, a wake, and the people I met that I hadn't seen in 40 years. You know, it was like a reunion. It was a beautiful coming together over a dead person. You know, so be your brother's keeper. Be your brother's keeper, and we learn by example. Come on, it's not hard. Just get those rules in your head, and we're on our way. I love you guys, and Godspeed. Yep.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Stonelean. You actually you triggered a memory in my head, because I had a friend, and he actually died of lung and brain cancer before the age of 30, and he did something very similar, because he didn't necessarily want everyone just sulking around. He had us throw in his will a Hawaiian barbecue in order to celebrate his life there, and that's something that was forethought of by your friend, acquaintance, family member, and my friend to the folks that would exist past them. And that's just, we seem to get caught up so much these days in just ourselves, where we are at this exact moment. How can I get up the next rung in that ladder doing whatever it is that we do? And one of the things that you also hit upon, man, is laughter. The sheer fact that we need to be able to laugh. We need to be able to make jokes in this freaking world. And now we're living in a time where it's like, oh, you can't say that. You can't say that. It's just, what are we doing? I mean, for hundreds and probably even thousands of years, the one person that could always make fun of the king was the fool, because he was a fool. And if we take away our comedian's ability to poke fun at things that are offensive, that will offend somebody once you get out there enough, I mean, it's truly going to a dark place. And what really popped me up on this was last year, Robin Williams, God rest his soul, he's probably just more like, no, he is my favorite comedian of all time, because he could go after everybody in just such a way and just draw things out where you're like, oh, maybe that was pretty bad, but he did it in a comedic way, because he could make fun of himself more than pretty much just anything else. And they took down his Twitter page. It was suspended because some of the things on there were offensive. You banned a dead man off of Twitter because something he said in the past was offensive. And that just bothered me to no end there. And just to bring this around, and tie this into the whole, what does it mean to be a man? It's like, I don't fucking know, man. I just try to live my life the best I can, try to take historical examples that we've seen, whether it's Jesus the Prophet of Nazareth, whether it's just freaking the Macho Man Randy Savage, whatever it is, you can take the good, because we all live with sin here, but we got to acknowledge when people truly do something that is great, because we have to remember the smallest mountain, strike that, reverse it. The largest mountain started as a stone. We once were weak, but now we're strong. How do we do that? How do we keep going on? Well, we got to listen, learn from each other, and do the best we can. And when the time comes, step up.
Walk the talk.
Well, that's the thing. We just got to use better words to be better wizards. I yield to you, Mr. Ogre.
Thank you. And we'll give deference. I do the same damn thing. It all happens to us, but I don't think that Stoney took away from any of the ethos of that comment. In fact, I think he added to it. So I am in the unique position that I'm able to listen to whoever's here and then jaunt a little something down. And I'm going to start this way. Manliness has been co-opted. There was a time when I made much more than my wife. A lot more. Saved most of those dollars. Look, in fact, I'm trying to justify it now, so I'm not going to. There was a time when I made a lot more than my wife, but right now, I don't make anything. I don't. New money, I only save us money. I mean, when I cut wood, I save us $50.
I'm in the same boat, buddy.
Save us a cord. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Stoney. Please let me get this, all of y'all, Stoney included. Let me get this thought in my head, because this is planned. This is a little extemporaneous speech I planned. I won't lie, that shit will throw me off. Thank you, Mr. Stoney. Well, I mean, so it doesn't matter. I want to use this as an example, Mr. Stoney. So, I believe that we have to understand our own value. We can't allow our value to be superimposed upon us by society. So I loved it when Dog Boy said, believe that you don't know. I heard you say that. You have to believe that you don't know. We can't think so much of ourselves as men, as I submit, Omega men, that we can't be like the alpha and believe that we are the end all be all. We can't be like the beta, questioning every last thing. We have to believe that there are some things that we don't know. But that being said, as I move on to the second thing that struck me from Mr. Stoney, we can't question everything that we do. We have to be steadfast in the things that make us men, or your manliness will be gone. Mr. Stoney, your ability, and yeah, no, I'm not asking questions. I'm not asking you to speak up. I know you're just new here on this one. So just pipe down, big guy. I just want to mention this from you because it struck me. And it's what always strikes me about you. You have seemingly an inexhaustible ability to empathize. And it's what I lack, and it's what I need. It's what I needed so much today. The hug you gave me today, sir, was saying, Og, I love you, big guy. I'd kiss you on the cheek if you were here, even though you're ugly and you smell like fucking 7 days of bad road with egg salad. But that said, you have to put yourself in this person's shoes. You have to fully understand your motivations. What a beautiful thing when a manly man, not some alpha or beta, can step up and say, empathize, be real, put yourself in someone else's situation and try to understand. Memes of destruction, the court jester. I mean, my goodness, as I was listening to you today, the thing that just, well, bow, it was like neon lights in the sky. You said we couldn't interfere with comedians, and it used to be this bastion of free speech, and we think of Lenny Bruce, and God rest his soul. And I mean, he was a good Jewish boy. What do you think his grandmother thought? But in the end, she supported him too. And when we think of Lenny Bruce, and that's, of course, the one I'm going to mention, we can think of all the others and the ones that came after and even before, and the ways that they've touched us and they've motivated us and they've caused us to be better men. But we have to remember, I want to delve into the point just because I've got 2.5 minutes left, 2 minutes left, sorry. The court jester, they're the most important component of the court. The judge, of course, is the king. He's the end all be all. His word will be the end of the discussion. He says death, it's death. He says life, it's life. He says life and prosper, you prosper. He says life but degradation, you're degraded. He's the end all be all. But what influence? The only, through history, folks, show me, if anyone, call me out on this, the one guarded thing, even when you had a despot, was the court jester. In merry old England, he was the one that was exempt from all rules of language. I do believe I've got that correct. Rules of language. He was exempt. He could say the king shits in his hat and then eats it. He could say anything. We need to open ourselves up, folks. And I would like to submit myself tonight as example A. And as I close, Tonka Saw, if I did anything to you to add to your weight that you carry around, sir, whatever it is, my friend, because in the end, let's face it, would you really watch me die in a ditch? I can say I would not watch you die, my friend. I would give you a hand out and a hand up. I would never want to see any ill befall you. And as I've mentioned, directed that way, credit to Mr. Stonley. I don't live under a weight of guilt from it. Don't let me overblow it in any way. It's a minor thing, But I shouldn't have wanted your downfall. I should have wanted you to change. You had something there, and I hope Andy Worski maybe can come up with the kill stream 2.0, whatever it is, the Kumite 2.0, where people can come and instead of hate, and I'm over my 5 minutes, they can come and they can actually work out their differences. Men do not revel in the downfall of another man, and I will not succumb to my base animal need tonight to go on and tell you what kind of ad hominem names the great and vaunted Tonka Saw is today, in my opinion, because he remains the great and vaunted Tonka Saw, and he has had thousands of people watch him. He's been influential. And if I was to degrade him to the extent that my base ignorance would drive me to, why? I would have to stand next to Don Lemon and these other mouth-breathing morons as they try to take the greatest president of the United States in the last 100 years down a peg. So remember, folks, be good to your friends, be good to your family members, be good to your loved ones. Be quick to say you're sorry. Be even quicker to accept an apology, especially when that thing your friend, family member, loved one has done seems to be so huge, you'll never be able to forget about it. Because constant viewers, new friends, interrupting Mr. Stonley at a time you think not. Your friends, your family members, your loved ones, your life, your cause, and your aggravating friend that insists on talking over you on your final word. No, and the Kumite will depart from you.